just gonna say, that's not good. Now I have a cup of coffee.
Good morning. Today is Wednesday, February the 26th, 2020. This is a regular meeting of Commissioners Court, Grimes County, Texas. The meeting today is the 26th of February. It is 9 a.m. We are meeting at 114 West Buffington Avenue in Anderson, Texas. The meeting is now called to order. We will start with an invocation. Okay, all right. Followed by our pledge, I didn't check it in advance. Followed by our pledge of allegiance to the U.S. flag and then to the Texas flag.
Let us pray.
Thank you, Charles.
Father God, we thank you that we have another chance to come together and to do your business. The reason why we say it's your business is because, Father, you own everything.
Amen.
Even the cattle on 1,000 hills belong to you. Amen. So, Father, this court is also your court. And we ask your blessings upon this court. Every situation, every problem that comes before them, Father, we know that you will give them the wisdom to solve it. And we pray, Father, that this year's year of election, that people will get out and exercise their right to vote, because, Father, we know that each person make a difference. So we thank you now for what you're about to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Would you be seated, please? We now move to the second item on our agenda, public comments. Thank you, Mary. And have a public comment. Ponch Gonzalez. Ponch, would you come to the podium, identify yourself again, and feel free to make your comments.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ponch Gonzalez. I'm the District Coordinator for the Division of Emergency Management for the state of Texas. I am the local, if you will, conduit liaison back to the state. Judge, obviously you can pick up the phone anytime and call the governor at your will. But if you have a local issue, that call through either Dave Lilly, the Emergency Management Coordinator, the mayors, or the judge here, I'm your conduit. Like I said, if you have an issue, if you have a problem, you can call me. If there's something I can do to help the judge get that done, that's what I'm here for. I gave y'all a couple of sheets of paper there for the handouts. We're having it's called a T611 training. And it's basically a workshop. It's a meet and greet. We're going to have the Division of Emergency Management from Austin, as well as Region 2, which I'm in Region 2, the Houston area. Right. District 13 is the 7 counties of the Brazos Valley that I serve. It's a workshop for judges, mayors, commissioners. Would like y'all to go there. That way we can have our mitigation, preparedness, and those type folks talk to you individually and let you know how we can help you in times of need.
I see you're adjourning the meeting right before lunch.
Yes, sir. Usually they last about 3 hours, so we try and get you in, get you out. You've got busy schedules, and it's a come and go, sure. But we'd like you there for the whole session. That way you can spend time with the different people to get to know them. So if you have a commissioner that needs some mitigation or some repairs on some roads, maybe the state can help you try and get some funding for that.
Okay. Commissioners, before this time arises, if you'll let me know if you're going to attend, because if there will be 3 or more of us, then I'd like to have an agenda prepared for that. Okay?
And I'll stay in touch with you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Judge, when is that date for that workshop?
The workshop is April the 21st, and that would be from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think there's a copy for you.
Oh, thank you.
Another public comment, Mary Nichols, our county auditor, and public comment. Ms. Nichols?
Good morning, Mary Nichols, the county auditor, and I just wanted to introduce to the court and to the rest of you my new assistant, Mary Johnson. She started 2
Two Mary
weeks ago.
Johnsons in the same department.
We had 2
No,
Jessies, now we
Marys
have 2
in
Marys.
in the same. Now, we put her in the system as Mary H., right, or Mary J?
I am Mary H. in the system, but my email is mary.j.
Because we already have a Mary Johnson, and
Okay.
so.
So you got shorted. Okay.
But anyway, she was the auditor in Orange County for 4 years, and then her husband got his dream job at A&M, and so they moved to A&M back in 2016. And so when she saw the ad in the Eagle, she got her resume into me real quick. And we're glad to have her. She started on the day of our audit and jumped in with both feet.
Well, thank you.
Let me know if I can help.
Welcome on board. Those are the only two public comment notices I have. Commissioners, y'all have any public comments that y'all like to share?
I'd just like to say we do have Super Tuesday this coming March 3rd, so let us not forget to get out and exercise our right to vote.
And early voting still continues through Friday of this week. It is available. There's no more late night early voting. Last night was the last night of early voting for that. I do want to put out an announcement regarding HB 3834, and I know all of y'all have that memorized, but just as a reminder, that is a cyber security training that all county employees and all elected officials, I should clarify, all county employees that have access to a computer or a smartphone where they do go to the county's website. All elected officials, you are required to take this training, and the deadline, I don't recall what it is, but it's rapidly approaching. 1st of June? Okay. And according to the numbers that I've gotten out of our IT department, we've had 70 people complete it, which is good. But that means there's a significant number of people who have not completed it. And I will not shame our elected officials that haven't taken that cybersecurity training, but I do have your names in front of me. Are there any other public comments? No, ma'am, you're not on the list.
No, I know I'm not.
All right, with that, we're going to go to consent. Ponce, you're more than welcome to stay. We've got a very long agenda, but if you've got better places to be and things to do, we understand. You're welcome.
Thank you. We look forward to the training.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Cool jacket. That didn't register, did it? Okay. All right, consent agenda items. Number 3, consider and take action to approve the treasurer's list of claims and bills. Agenda item number 4, consider and take action to approve payroll. Agenda item number 5, approve monthly report submitted by the county treasurer for January 2020 and authorize advertisement of affidavit of same in accordance with local government code 114.026, which is page 5 of this agenda.
I'd like to say to the auditor and to the treasurer, this makes for an interesting read. It's a little bit different. A lot more numbers to look at as far in terms of invoices and the extra numbers. But we're getting there. I mean, it takes a little time, but thank you so much. I know y'all been working diligently getting adjusted to the new software.
It did take a little longer, but it is more informative, so.
Mm-hmm. I did have one question for the county clerk. When you access this Department of the State of Texas for remote birth access?
Yes, ma'am.
Is
So
that,
that's when people come in and want to get a birth certificate that were not born in this county. It's what they call a remote birth. And so they do charge us $1.89 for every one of those that we issue. And for some reason, there was a backlog of billing
Okay.
And so we're just trying to get caught up. They weren't sending us the invoices.
Are you doing many?
We're doing quite a few, yes ma'am.
And they pay a fee to get the birth
Yes,
certificate?
the
right?
person that comes in to get the birth certificate pays $23. And out of that 23, we pay the state $1.89, and we get to keep the rest.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't have any other questions. Are there any other questions? If not, I'll make a motion. I make the motion that we approve the consent agenda items 3, 4, and 5.
Second. There's a motion before the court on consent agenda items number 3, 4, and 5 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. We go to agenda item number 6, Road and Bridge Engineer Harry Walker. Consider and take necessary action to approve the replat of King, oh, here we go again. King Oak Section 1 that combines Lot 133-R, 3.17 acres, and Lot 135, 1.25 acres, to be redesignated as Lot 133-R, 4.42 acres, King Oaks, Section 3. Mr. Fultz, should we approve these one at a time, or are we okay to do a bucket?
You're okay to do them all at once.
All right, sir. Continuing on, Section 3 replat that combines Lot 420, 1.22 acres, and Lot 421, 3.88 acres, to be redesignated as Lot 420R, total of 5.10 acres, King Oaks, and Section 3 replat that combines Lot 441, 1.98 acres, and Lot 442, 1.99 acres, to be redesignated as Lot 441-R for a total of 3.98 acres. And again, Commissioner Mallett, that's in your precinct. I'll let you take the lead if you will.
Well, I guess if there's no questions or anything, we had the meeting beforehand. I move to approve replat of King Oak Section 1, redesignated Lot 133-R2, and in Section 3, redesignated Lot 420R and redesignated Lot 441R.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 6 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Walker, thank you. Agenda item number 7, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 2, Judge Lester Underwood. Consider and take action to approve request to move Child Abuse Prevention Month presentation to Navasota City Hall. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners,
Good morning.
elected officials, distinguished guests. I'm not here as a Justice of the Peace. I'm here as a member of the Grimes County Child Welfare Board. The month of April is designated as Child Abuse Prevention Week, a month. And each year we have a presentation at the Law Enforcement Center, which is emceed by our county attorney and coordinated through Ms. Mooney. And I would like to request moving it and joining and partnering with the city of Navasota to where it could have greater exposure. It would have more people involved and a general public conduit so that more people will be aware of child abuse. Possibly more child abuse will be reported. So that's the purpose. The people that come to the Law Enforcement Center either come there to file a complaint, to visit their kinfolks during visiting hours on weekends. It's not a location for the general public. So that's the purpose of wanting to coordinate with the city officials in Navasota and have this presentation at the City Hall area.
Is this the blue ribbon tree?
Yes.
Do you feel like if we move it to Navasota, I just heard your comments, but I guess what I don't want to happen is that it just becomes a Navasota situation. I do think it's so important that people recognize this is a Grimes County effort.
Well, I understand that, Judge. And the thing that we're looking at, it may not be possible to do it this year, just do the time restraints. We have to get on their agenda, get it coordinated through them and approved by them. It has to be available to be done on their calendar as well. So this year may not be a possibility, even though we're going to try to push it with y'all's approval to get it done. This is just a temporary presentation there. When we get the new Justice Center built and we have traffic with the general public, we'd like to have it there because basically our Child Welfare Board is sponsored by Grimes County.
Right.
Okay. This would primarily be this year if possible, and maybe next year if our Justice Center is not completed.
And
I was just saying, would you be willing to take the lead, or someone on your board has, that they've been designated to ride this effort and discuss with Navasota and check calendars and so forth?
Yes, we already have a representative that's gonna work on that end of it.
Okay.
I know we trimmed our trees here. It used to be right out here, and it's kind of hard to get to the trees now. So I just wondered, was that an option at all?
Well, we do other things, charts. There are other ways to send the message as well as doing the ribbons on the trees. That has been done in years past, but not every year.
Okay.
One of the obstacles this year is also going to be parking out of the law enforcement center for attendance to the event. So I think that,
Yeah, it's a daily issue.
yeah.
It's only gonna be that way for a year.
So I didn't understand when you just said it's going to be a charge, something about a charge. I mean, we talked about the blue ribbon. Was there other ways that we?
There are charts, sometimes there are banners, other things that we do for that presentation.
Oh, charts.
Charts.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So my question is, if you don't get it on the Navasota agenda, would we then look here at the courthouse? Maybe I know they did the big blue ribbon this past
I
year.
don't know
the
that we
big signage.
could tie everything onto the scaffolding at the courthouse.
No,
That would be-
the tree right here on the corner.
Okay.
That's where it's been.
Possibly we'll move it there.
You know where I'm talking
And,
about.
and keep,
We don't actually use the ribbons anymore. We have a big plywood,
Board.
I guess is the word,
Yes.
so it just sits out on the lawn. We don't, the ribbons were dangerous for some of us climbing up
I
on the
know.
ladder.
That's why I was worried about the tree out here. But I know in the past I've seen it done.
Yes.
When I first got here, we did a couple of years right out here on the corner. So I was just saying, I know y'all have thought about it and brainstormed about it, but just in case that's a second option, to where if you don't get with the city of Navasota,
Oh,
we
yes,
still
ma'am. We will certainly have.
we
a
still
second
have our
option.
county.
Yes.
and I'm not,
True.
and I'm not opposed to this, but please keep in mind, we've got 3 other buildings at our fairgrounds. We've got the Go Texan, we've got the Lions, and we've got the Expo. We've got plenty of parking out there. I know that's kind of in between Navasota and a good portion of Grimes County, so that could be an option location.
Okay, Judge, I just want to put one thought
Sure.
into this. It's not about yours or ours.
Agreed.
This is about child abuse prevention. And the greatest exposure that we can have, or the greater the exposure can be, possibly the more results and we'll have from this, okay? I know that our county does sponsor our Child Welfare Board, and we are greatly thankful for that.
And we're glad to do it.
But what we're doing is trying to get the message out and the word out. And the place for the greatest exposure, in our thoughts, would possibly be partnering with the city this year or possibly next year and make it a larger event.
Sure.
Okay, it's gonna get more visibility there probably than it's, certainly more so than a law enforcement center.
What month is that?
It's April,
April?
so we're very much under the gun to make it happen this year. It-
If you don't have any other questions, then I'll make the motion that we move.
You can make the motion, we still have time to talk about it, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll make the motion that we move the Child Abuse Prevention Month presentation to the city of Navasota City Hall.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 7 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Good luck, keep us informed, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Corey, thank you for the work you do. Mary, too. Agenda item number 8, Grimes County Building Maintenance Manager, Mr. Al Peeler, update on Grimes County Justice Center project.
Morning, Commissioners, Judge.
Good morning.
It's great to be out here today. Let me get my old man glasses on. Okay, so the Justice Center, Mother Nature has beat us up a little bit here in the last 2 weeks. We've had 8 rain days. The grade building pad is complete. That's why we're not in a rush to get out on the pad and destroy everything that we've worked on. We have, in the days we've been able to, we have 30 piers drilled right now out of 226. We have 150 cages tied, rebar down for the piers when we get into it. The paved site for the additional parking for the jail, the 18 more parking spaces, it's great, it's up, it's ready. We're just waiting for Mother Nature to give us some relief. We got some. We thought we were going to be able to drill yesterday. It's still pretty squishy out there. So we're hoping for 40-mile-an-hour winds today, cold, and then we can get started tomorrow. That's about it. We don't have, I know we're waiting on an amended contract signed from Collier. They are reviewing that today. Within a week, we should have it.
And Corey, you'll recall that Mr. Collier was desirous of having the contract signed and some handwritten changes made on the document, and so I wanted to clean that up, and we sent that contract off to Michael with PGAL. Wanted to be sure that we had everything right because there were various attachments. There was a flurry of activity there at the end. So I think we have it right, everything typed, and now we've presented to Collier, and I understand it's on their desk.
Yes, it's being reviewed today.
Okay. Shouldn't be, not any changes of substance.
You didn't sneak a 20% discount or something in there for us?
I did not.
That is it for that one.
Would you take us to agenda item, or Commissioners, any other questions regarding the Justice Center update? We'll go to agenda item number 9, update on Grimes County Courthouse construction.
Again, doing very well. This crew has a whole different realm. They work right through the rain. which the metal crew is now back on site. They can do the cornices, the downspouts, and they'll be starting to build the scaffolding around the cupola. The drainage pipe, we hit a hiccup a little bit. We found that where our current downspouts come and adjoin and go to the street, for whatever reason, they set monuments on them. So we couldn't adjoin it, so they said they were gonna just boot them. And I put a stop to that. We're not booting, we're not ponding around the courthouse, the foundation that's been there 125 years. So you're gonna have to figure something out. They come back, they're gonna drill inside the retaining wall, then they're gonna hand dig and make a 45-degree from the new downspouts, so it will be able to carry more water. I just wasn't comfortable with draining water on there.
Because the wall would just effectively hold it there, would it not?
Yeah, it'd be like a pond.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in dealing with that later. Windows on the third floor, they're complete painted. Second floor is completed painted except for 2 in the courtroom and the elevator shaft. First floor, they need 2 weekends to complete the judge's office. Masonry, 90% on the east side, 90% on the north side, 72% on the west side, 8% on the south side. The repoint the change order for repoint is 59% complete. They are starting chimney caps. We pulled the chimney cap off and 18 bricks fell out. Yeah, so we're rebuilding the chimney and then we'll put the cap on. Any other questions? I'm ready.
Is that why he stood up?
He stood up for the next item.
When you said the windows are complete, does that include that metal strip at the bottom?
No, when they're complete, when I talk about complete, it's complete painting. Because we have to get it painted before we start. Now, we have a lot of the metal strips on the completed painting of the windows. We're still waiting for some that needed to be repaired coming back to put in.
Okay.
Did that answer it?
Well, it does, but I mean, it does mean you'll be back where you said third floor windows are completed. We will be back up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
complete painted.
Okay.
We still have to go back, but we don't have to move you out of your office. We don't have to move people out of the office to do what we need to do now.
Okay.
We can just sneak in and sneak out. It's not we're at this point, we're getting 3 windows a day. We have to strip, we have to reset, and then we can start painting.
Okay.
So that's why we need 6 days for the third
fair.
floor.
It's just when some people hear complete, they hear complete.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any questions on agenda item number, any additional questions on 9? Agenda item number 10, consider and take action to contract for roof repair and any necessary remediation related thereto at the Grimes County Law Enforcement Center. See enclosed packet.
Sorry. Sorry, Commissioner Walker.
You need an armed guard to make this presentation?
I got one.
You may need it.
So, oh Lord.
Just let me get out of the way. Where y'all get.
Okay. So I was tasked with, we have some problems. It's been a couple months ago. Corey called me and said, hey, who did you use for mold remediation? Told her, she kind of got it started. And so then the judge asked me to get involved in the jails deal. I did. I went over there. I looked. Mr. Green.
We did have Commissioner Dobianski's permission to get you involved over there.
Okay. Okay.
Just
That's behind the scenes. I don't know.
okay.
I just do what my boss tells me to do and I go. So I looked at everything that Corey sent me. I seen the mold report, which you guys have. It's not something that it shocked me. It's been throughout since I've taken over the buildings and we're getting it cleaned up. I immediately moved air scrubbers into where I thought they needed to be, but going off the mold report. Then my second thing was I wanted to look at the roof. The roof is gonna be where it starts. Well, after long conversations with a lot of people, we found that the roof has been leaking for several years, right? And so I started there, and Mr. Green gave me a proposal from Schulte Roofing of $426,000, $426,034.75. Well, from what I seen, yeah, that was a new roof quote, and it's a TPO roof. A TPO roof has a PVC top and a rubber coating, and then underneath that it goes plywood and then foam. For me, once you have a TPO roof, it's about preventive maintenance, because TPO is hard to wear out. So I went a different way. I called a couple roofers. One got up there and said, "You're crazy. I don't want nothing to do with it." Aggie Land Roofing, which you have in front of you, we went and did an infrared test. Infrared test tells us where the water's holding. And they say right on their quote, if it's 50% or more, this quote's no good. It was 49.8.
Wow.
And I said, so the quote's good, right? And she said, yes. So we've used these people in the past, hence why you're not getting leaked on, Mr. Nowinski. What makes their quote good is it's a 10-year warranty. So after that, after they step foot on and they do their work, it's their baby. No questions asked. I say that with confidence because this is the same roof we got here. And every time we've had a leak, even when it wasn't their fault, they came and fixed it. We had a leak, if you guys recall, right after we got the roof done, and it was leaking right there. It turned out to be 3 bullet holes.
Bullet holes.
Bullet holes. It was right after the July 4th holiday. They came, they water tested, found them, and fixed them. Yeah. We haven't had any problems yet. So that's what makes this quote so attractive.
For clarification, the bullet holes were from the outside coming in.
Yes.
Not inside going out.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So my thing for that is you have to stop the water coming in before you can do remediation.
Mhm.
The building needs remediation, okay? So that's the first quote, and that quote is $134,300. It's a long ways from $400,000.
When you say 134, it's $134,300. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It says it does not include raising of curbs,
Yes, ma'am.
and above there, it said add new flashing to all existing curbs.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when I think of a curb, I'm thinking of a curb on the ground, so can you?
Yes, ma'am. So on top of the jail, it has rooftop units, and the rooftop units sit on curbs in the construction world. They're not going to take them curbs out. They're solid concrete, so they're just going to build around the curbs.
Okay. So it won't be any raising of curbs.
Right. We're okay. So they don't want. They can we're set so high, we can work around it. They don't have to raise them up to work underneath them.
Okay. So
Any-
all we're doing in the scope of work is adding flashing to the existing curves.
Yes, and then we'll,
Okay.
but then we'll, there's a lot more to that. Then we'll put a silicone coating on it. We'll replace the wet spots that are on the infrared test. We'll pull that back up, put new stuff in, weld the seams again, and go from there. And then we'll coat.
All right, I just, in your bid price, it said that and had quite a few stars around it, so I just wanted to talk to you
yeah.
about it.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is just roofing, no mechanical, electrical, or plumbing.
No, no. And as we get through this, I'll explain why I believe that's the best.
Do you believe there'll be any alterations, deviations from the above scope of work?
No, I've been on that roof now more than I like to be on roofs. And I don't.
Okay.
I've been on there with 3 contractors. And then I've been up there myself, making sure that this is the right thing. And I've made some notes for later that I think will stop some of that. When I was up there, I gathered 16 screws from the rooftop units that were laying on the roof itself. That's an issue, and we'll address that later on as we get through this package.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Al, did you get any response or input from TAC about the roof?
I did, and that's, that was gonna, I did, and they have, the engineering report. And you're gonna hear me echo this. TAC wanted to bring their engineer out, and I'm okay with that. They echoed everything that I echoed, so it just, yeah, it was a good report. That me and Todd thought they weren't gonna give us anything after it, but they did end up giving us $6,922.24. It isn't much, but I'll take whatever bid I can get from them.
They gave you what?
$6,922.24. And that is already here, correct,
I think
Miss?
so.
It
Janice?
is, I know it is. Is it? Yeah. I know it is, but I'll let.
What is that, lunch money for the project?
Yeah, I'll take lunch money anytime I can get it. All right, so moving on, that has to be the first thing, but I can simultaneously do a lot of these at the same time as the roof. The next thing in the packet, if it's laid out like I got it, is Frontier Services. We got, and Miss Mooney and Todd Green, they had a jump start, and they did exactly what they needed to do on it. But I went further. I wanted to make sure that we have a quote from the Steamery, which is in Iola, and I wanted to make sure, because I like to get anybody that I can, first in the county and then in the surrounding counties. Their quote, you don't have that quote because we're under an emergency deal here. Their quote come in at $228,485, which I don't think that's a bad quote by any means. They're a small company, and they went to every detail that wasn't really on the mold report. Do I think that's a great deal, but they didn't really itemize it out that I could see where I could draw lines out. The small company part hurts them in mold remediation. And that's, really that's what it boils down to. Because then you get I got another quote from Core, and they're out of Houston, which was $99,030.81. So I did my homework on it a little bit as quick as I could. Frontier, again, we have used Frontier. We know their work, and they're a big company, and they come in at $81,663.07. That is for everything, correct me if I'm wrong, that is everything in the mold report that will take care of 3/4 of the jail and the offices, admin offices, I couldn't thank you. So, because that's all it was in there, that's the affected parts, that's where they went. The steamery went all over, and that kinda put theirs up there high. Frontier is able to start next week. I'm still waiting on Aggieland to get back with me. I called her today and said, hey, I'm giving you the best that I can give you on these prices. I've worked diligently on these. I've called people that I know is the best in the business, and I'll come back down and say Frontier is one of our best in the business. They're just a big company. Any questions about that? You have the mold report?
So Frontier's the mold remediation.
Yes, sir.
Aggieland roof repair is a roof repair.
Yes, sir.
And then you have a third component?
I do.
Okay.
No questions about Frontier? This is why my packets are big. All right, so the next one, we come back. So, we fixed the roof now. We've remediated all the mold and got that out so everybody can breathe. Now what we need to do is put a control system in with humidity control. It's a lot of concrete. It sweats. When it gets humid outside and they're trying to cool it down to 68 on a concrete wall, guess what happens?
You're talking about the jail, not the solution.
I'm
Okay.
talking about the jail. It immediately sends mold signs up 100%. So if we can control, like we do the courthouse, we can control it. When it gets above 55, immediately it starts sensing where, just where. If it's jail cell in the K hall, and they're trying, that unit will know, look, we can't do that, we're sending humidity control in there, getting the humidity back down to 55, and then it will allow the jail to stay at a constant 55. It will also allow the jail administrators to see what's going on in their building. On the other hand, maintenance knows. Maintenance will know with training, they can troubleshoot their units better. They don't have to just call, hey, if they have a problem and the wall is wet, now it's not time to call, it's time to look at your climate control system and say, okay, I need to get more climate control in there. But one thing I want to warn you, and on this system, it is a great system, but this is a basic system, okay? This is for the needs we need right now. It's my beliefs that with the budget the jail has for maintenance and 505, that you can build off this system to be as great as the Justice Center system will be and the jails. But this is a basic system to get us through what right now, so we don't have this reoccurring thing.
Will the basic system do what we need to do with the humidity control?
Yes.
Okay, if that would do it, then why do we need to build on the system from that point forward?
Well, there's a lot of zoning system problems in there that needs to be fixed.
Okay.
And that will require more sensors but this system will allow us to get there. And that's not something that needs to happen right now, because right now we need to control humidity
Right.
and get the control so that you don't have a hot spot here and a cold spot here and a hot spot there. We need to get that controlled. Then, and only then, I think in previous budgets, we can budget that in and say, okay, we're gonna do this side of the jail. We're gonna do admin offices first. Okay, that's the easiest thing. Cause that building has so many offices, but the thermostat could be at the end of this hall for these three offices on this end of the hall. That's not how that's supposed to, it's not a well-designed system.
But the sensors you would put in these 3 offices, going back to the control system,
Right.
would cure the air temperature in these rooms.
Yeah, we call them dead zones. So you walk in Chad's office and he's got it turned down to 68, but you walk into David's office and he's got it turned up to 75. A lot like your office, he's roasting Chad and he's sitting in his suntan lotion. So, I mean, that's how
For the
that
record,
works.
I don't keep my office at 75. Cherie tries to.
But you don't have a control system. She don't either. The jury
room
does.
has it, right.
So whoever's in the jury room
Right.
controls everybody.
Right.
And that's when, that's in the budget in next year. So that's the zone.
Well, will this control system help us to improve our utility usage over there?
It will. But it will on a usage part, but when you bring humidity control in, it's gonna want to use more because we're electric heat. And I don't wanna get into so
Okay.
you're using electric heat, and if it
So
needs heat to get to the 55, that's when it's gonna use more.
So your control system won't have a payback on utility usage in a year, 2
No.
years, or 3 years? Okay.
Not with humidity
But
control.
it will stop, help stop the mold issue.
Mhm.
Also fixing and repairing the roof will stop the water transmission, which contributes to the mold, or starts the mold
Sure,
issue.
sure,
Okay.
sure. And this will be on our system. Courthouse is gonna be on it, Justice Center will be on it, and now the jail will. So, we're one service contract, so it saves us money there.
But your jail solution is 3 parts.
It's 3 parts, it has to be 3 parts.
And if you leave any of the one part, you're just beating your head against the wall.
You are.
So what's the total price of the 3-part solution?
I have a question first, before you move there,
You would ask me.
while you're still on climate tech.
Go ahead.
It's a 1-year parts and labor warranty. Is there a way to get an extended warranty on this system?
Yes. So, yes, except that dollar amount goes way up. And I was in emergency mode trying to get this fixed. So I didn't ask for, and that's shocking that I didn't ask for a 10-year warranty, because every time I ask for a 10-year warranty, I can ask that.
I mean, for what you're gonna pay and you only get a 1-year parts and labor, I just wonder what an extended warranty would run, because that'll be up in no time.
But the parts that they're giving you a warranty on, if we go like the courthouse, the things that we had to replace when I first got here, were little type sensors, and they were 30 or 40 bucks. Now when lightning struck, we had to pay out $11,000 for the Jace. There was nothing we can do, and then I called TAC in on that, and they said it's active nature. Sorry. So I mean, I can ask, Commissioner.
You're saying it's not worth an extended warranty?
No, because they had been, now, I don't know how long they had been out before I got here, okay? But we spent, and I think it was $2,500 to replace the sensors that were out when I got here. And that had to be, they were placed in there in 2002, and I didn't get here until 2014, 15, somewhere like that. So, I mean, I will ask, most definitely, but in my eyes, we would pay, we're gonna pay for a service contract anyhow for the courthouse, and they're gonna look at every one of their systems. They're gonna fall, because we sign it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, we sign it as Grimes County. We never sign it Grimes County Courthouse. So, in a service agreement. Right.
Well, I just asked that question because I hear what you're saying about one contract, but this contract comes prior to,
Not our service agreement.
not your service agreement?
And I will check on that for you. I will. And I'll bring that back before court, but, because for them, we have a 3-week lead time because of the coronavirus.
Don't.
No, it is true, that is true. They put it together in Mexico, but they buy the parts in China. And China is not sending any of that parts out because of the coronavirus. He told me that this morning.
Okay.
I'm like, you know how I get. So that's my three-part deal. I've worked hard on it to get you the best deals that I can find. I will tell you, there's some things that, in my opinion, after looking at the jail, reading the engineer's report, I think a preventive maintenance program needs to be put into place. I think we wouldn't have had a lot of these problems if we could have bought some caulking and took care of our roof better. That's easy for me to say because I have one job. I'm the maintenance director. That's what you pay me to do. So that's the first thing I look at, okay? Second thing is, I think some policies need to go in, a sheet that says if you get up on our 10-year warranted roof and you do some maintenance on an air handler and you don't clean up your mess, that you'll be hold reliable if we can prove. And that will work with John C. Any vendor doing that, they all know that if you, and anybody, IT or somebody like that, they'll talk, they know before you get on my roof, you better talk to me around here. The third thing I would, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think these things are items for discussion at another time because we're talking about the roof repair for now.
Okay,
Okay?
that's
I
fine.
mean, I appreciate what you're saying.
That's fine.
Okay.
Then at that time, my presentation is done.
Do you have a total for your 3 components?
I can have 1 week for the roof. She
No.
just texted me.
Oh, 1 week, okay. For the repair.
For the repair.
And I'll just remind you, and Alan and I have talked about this, you would have to exercise a discretionary exemption to avoid competitive bidding on the claim that this is unforeseen damage to public property.
And it's a bit of an emergency
Well, exactly. but I
because
mean,
you have
need-
us shut, I say you, we have shut down the law library and access to that area. So, but I appreciate your comments.
Just need you to be sure part of your consideration is to take that exemption.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
$270,963.07, if my math is correct.
Can you say that again?
$270,963.07, if my math is correct.
That's half of what we were talking about when we originally started. Not that I'm excited about $270,000, but
Yeah, so when I seen some of the quotes for 468, 200, I'm like, oh, I gotta go to work, and I went to work. And
Armor Guard, do you have anything to say?
you want me to go away?
Well, I guess it depends on how that goes.
Oh. That's a fair response.
I mean, if we don't fix this and fix this right, there will be some ramifications coming down.
Well, there's,
That we'll have to deal with from the state.
I was gonna say, there's huge liability from
There
that.
are some issues that we will have to address right now. They're on hold because we have presented a plan that we're gonna be taking care of this issue. And it is a requirement that we've gotta keep these tanks, these cells at certain temperature levels. And we've been struggling to do that. And, so I think, me and Al have discussed this. Part of the issue is what's causing some of this is because the way the system's designed, the way we're struggling to keep all these tanks to stay in compliance. And, this is the beginning of the steps that we need to take, so.
Funding is my question.
Well, there is some money budgeted in Commissioner Dobianski's budget for law enforcement center repairs, and there's some budgeted in the jail and sheriff's office. I didn't bring the budget with me, and I've been working on the audit, so I haven't looked at it to see exactly how much is in there. But I'm believing that we budgeted around $50,000 in your budget, right?
Yes.
And so it'll have to come out of fund balance of the rest of it.
Well, if my observation of the budget is correct, there was about $113,000 budgeted for maintenance out of Commissioner's budget and the Sheriff's Department budget. Can I make a couple comments?
Sure, absolutely.
I know it sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But this is one of those issues that we have to fix it. After reviewing the report, there are several things that are mentioned in the report that probably could have been done differently. We can't look back at this point. I've been in this very situation in my prior employment with having building issues. And some of those fixes were not really fixes. And it got to the point that we had to vacate the building that we were in, and now still paying rent to house that department. So the question is, what do we do going forward? Well, first thing, we have to fix this problem. The bid that Al was able to obtain for each one of these elements, based on comparison of the additional information, is certainly it's miraculous whenever you consider that one company was going to charge $400,000
For one item.
and Al, with his knowledge, was able to get this information, or get the work done, or at least a bid down to 100 or so. So, thinking about this problem, this is just another glaring example of why I believe that we, as a court, need to move the maintenance of the county facilities under the Building and Maintenance Department. And no, I'm not knocking you, but you've got cops trying to do building and maintenance on things that, and I'm sure they have some level of expertise, but they're generally probably in the same boat I am or was, don't have the knowledge that Al has. And I think by moving the building and maintenance under that department for all county facilities, we're going to save a substantial amount of money. And I know it's not necessarily on the agenda at this time, but there's a couple of things that could happen if we did that. We could have an active maintenance schedule for each county building, and we could get regular reports on those maintenance schedules that we could take action to mitigate before it goes on and off for several years. And the next thing you know, we're in a boat spending $270,000 trying to fix a problem that we probably could have fixed relatively cheap years ago. So with that being said, I'm excited to talk about the opportunity on an upcoming agenda, and it's definitely something that we need to address, I think, going forward.
I agree with you, Commissioner Cox. And before the judge called and asked my permission to have Al step into this, I had already talked to him about it when we found the mold issue, because he knows a lot more than I do about it or anybody over there. He's dealt with it before, and that's the way we need to go. And I totally agree with what you just said. Just like in the IT department, when we hired somebody to take over the IT department, we saved money in the long run. I think that's the right direction we need to go with maintenance also, because it will, with his knowledge, things could have been done, we can't revisit that, but from here on, to have a maintenance program, I think will save us money in the long run.
I'd like to get back to the budget, and because what I hear you're saying is he has money, jail has money, but then you still have maintenance that has to be done outside of the issues that you're taking care of now. You have your regular
There's been already
maintenance.
some big ticket items that have come up. We've had some more plumbing issues that have come in where they had to tunnel back and replace pipes again. And I would expect throughout the year, throughout the remainder of this year, we're still gonna have some big ticket items, so.
So that's why I'm saying it would be beneficial or for us to, I'm not saying we can't get it done, I just want to know what it costs. And Al just gave me a number, and I'm trying to see, had you looked to see, because you kind of gave me a whereabouts.
I haven't looked to see how much has been spent this year.
We needed to know where the money's coming from.
I will
That's all
tell you
I'm
this,
getting
after doing some of, so it's normal that when I get there, everybody wants to show me their problems. And I have went with Junior Covington, Mr. Covington, and seen some of his problems. And I hope this doesn't overstep my boundaries, Ms. Nichols, but draining their maintenance fund will not be the right avenue, because they have some issues with plumbing. Mr. Covington is getting them done, but some of the issues in this building, they have 90'd under a concrete pad, and he's having to tunnel underneath the pad to get to the 90. So draining their maintenance fund would not be the right avenue, in my opinion. Your leadership, and I'll follow whatever you need me to follow.
Well, they've already spent more than half of their machinery and equipment, our repairs and maintenance budget for this year.
Right.
So what we're looking at now basically is fund balance. Probably for almost, except for the $6,922,
Lunch money.
we're looking at approximately $274,000 that needs to come out of fund balance. So I know we're in the process of some other things, and that's why I'm concerned and need to know answers as far as where, I know we're running a tight ship here, or should be. So,
Yesterday, Ben Rosenberg stopped by, and I was telling him, I forgot about the jail when I was talking to him about all the other things that were going on. And he said, the coronavirus has had a big effect on the interest rates. Interest rates have dropped considerably. So he said, if we think that we're gonna need to borrow some money, that between now and the next month or so would be a good time to do it because the interest rates are so low.
Can I ask a question, Commissioner? On the humidity controls, can that wait until the next budget year? Because there's a question of, is that due to unforeseen damage to public property? Is that something for which you can get an exemption, or should that be subject to competitive bid? I mean, that's a question for them, not me.
No, because once you get the roof fixed and you get it remediated, now you need the system to work like it's supposed to. And the only way you can get it to work like it's supposed to is with the control system.
so with summer coming on, and I'm adding to your concern and your concern, those systems are gonna be clicking on a lot more and creating condensation and
Right.
those type of things.
Right.
So waiting till, I guess, September, or October, we've already went through the summer months. And so is that something that you see that
I just
should
wanted
be
to
needed?
ask, well, I wanted to ask because there could be a question in your mind about whether the immediate repair is subject to the exemption and that the humidity control may not be. And if you could compartmentalize those and use dollars today for 2 projects and save the dollars for the 3rd project for the next budget year, you might be able to get there, but Al's saying you can't.
I would not recommend that, because all you're doing is fixing a roof, you're not fixing anything with HVAC, you're cleaning it, and then you're doing it right back over again. Now, the only, one thing I will say to John's comment is, yeah, you won't have moisture coming from the top, now you're gonna have it coming from the side.
So you could recreate your
Your
mold problem.
You're not could be, you will be.
Okay.
So my question about fund balance, and I heard you answer me with sound like you saying we need to borrow money, but
I'm not saying we need to, but I'm saying the more we're going into fund balance, the tighter next year's budget is going to have to be.
We've got close to $9 million in fund balance. There's absolutely no reason to talk about going out and borrowing money to do a $270,000 project.
Well, I'm not saying to do that project, but I'm saying, you know, we've got this building that we're building.
We've got a
And
budget for that.
I know we do, but I'm concerned that we will make it in that budget.
We can cross that bridge when we come to it. We're talking about the project for the jail right now, and I think we have to do this. This is not an issue of whether or not we
No,
can.
I agree with you on that.
so in the initial, I heard you say originally you were looking at about 400-something thousand. So at some point, did you look to see where the money was gonna come from?
I
So
knew
we
it
could
would
have a
just have to-
definitive
I knew
answer?
it would have to come from fund balance. I mean, there's no other place to take it.
Okay.
And that's pretty much why you have a nice fund balance, is for emergencies like this.
Yeah, we were looking at close to 800,000 when it first started. So I was like,
Mr. Foltz, will you restate your language that you would like to have in a motion, or that you suggest, not like, that you suggest we do to to meet the balance in all areas of an emergency situation, please, sir.
Just want the motion or the minutes to contain explanation that you, because the code requires that you order it, which just means it has to be in the minutes that you're intentionally taking a discretionary exemption to enter into the contract or contracts that are on the table.
Okay.
Sound like you know the wording.
Well, I was gonna put it on Commissioner Dobianski's shoulders since it's dealing with the jail and it's in his precinct. Would you like to make that motion?
State that again.
I think his motion was ditto, all right?
We want to
Exercise
pay the
discretionary.
Discretionary
exemption.
exemption for the $270,963.07 for the repairs for the law enforcement center.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 10 by Commissioner Dobianski. There is a second by Commissioner Mallett. Is there further discussion?
One thing, who's taking care of the project?
Project manager.
Just wanted it in the minutes.
Todd, you're okay with him taking charge of it?
Absolutely.
Okay. The armed guard has spoken and Commissioner Dobianski is yes, yes, yes. Okay. All right, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for your efforts in this.
Thank you. Thank both of you all. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
Yeah, we ought to take it out of the attorney's budget. Corey started all of this. We will go to agenda item number 11, Emergency Management Services Coordinator David Lilly is not here. He's at conference. But the motion, the agenda item says discuss and take action to approve the appointment of the following members to the Brazos Valley Homeland Security Advisory Committee, HSAC. That would be David Lilly, Todd Green, Catherine Dornack, Jason Katkowski, Jesse Murphy, and Neil Window. David's our Emergency Management Coordinator. Chief Green, we know him well. Kat Dornack, Kat Lee is our 911. Jason Katowski is Navasota Fire Chief. Jesse Murphy is one of our auditors, and Neil Wendell is the city manager for Todd Mission. Excuse me. I'll make the motion to approve the appointment of those members to the Brazos Valley Homeland Security Advisory Committee.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 11 by County Judge Joe Faust, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 12. Grimes County Clerk Vanessa Brzezinski, consider and take action to approve moving $11,000 from fund balance in Fund 54, County Clerk Records Archive Fund, into the operating budget in Fund 54 for maintenance of records. Madam County Clerk?
Good morning. So just to refresh your memory, I was here back last month about a book proposal, and there was an issue of the funding for books. So I met with the auditors and we had a discussion, but I was just informed this morning, we went over the numbers again, and we do not need to move any money out of fund balance as long as if we approve number 13, moving the salary. So
Fund balance 54.
yeah, out of Fund 54. Yeah, she says we don't need to do that. She said there should be enough money to cover that expense once we move that item 13.
Item 13 is, David Paskett had started a project, and we budgeted for a project manager because that was one of the requirements in the contract. And that project is over, And so we can move that money back into her expense line without any trouble. And because this wasn't for a regular position, I have no problem moving that money back into her expense line.
But is Fund 54 a dedicated fund
Yes,
for?
Yes,
But do we have enough money in Fund 54 to do what you're requiring to do?
yes.
So if we didn't move line, or item 13, that money would then go back into fund balance where we'd have more options to use it versus Fund 54 where we're obligated to use it for your records. Is that
Well,
right?
money still would
We're
stay
talking
within that
about Fund
restricted.
54.
Well, one at a time, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, the money is still in that restricted fund.
The 12,000
Yes.
Yes,
is still in the restricted fund.
It's in
yes.
54.
So it doesn't go back into the county's general fund?
No, sir.
Okay.
Is Fund 54 the one that any other department can use?
No, ma'am, this is
This is
only
strictly
for
for
county
you.
clerk
Right.
records, yes.
Okay.
So it's
So
item
we
number
can-
12
we
need
can
to be tabled?
disregard item 12 if y'all want to move to 13.
What books are these again?
Okay, so these are our old original deed records from when the county was first formed. And they're very old, they're handwritten, the
They're very
pages are
fragile.
very fragile. And these are the original books, and so they need to be preserved. What they do is they take the pages and put them in the acid-free plastic sleeves and put them in a new binder, because the binder is falling apart literally, the book binding. And this will restore that book, plus they will scan those pages so that they can be made available digitally without having to go to the books. But this preserves the book itself. So it's like a two-step process. They scan them and then preserve the book. And there's 4 books.
So this is all under 12, 13, 14 is under your, so you're suggesting we take no action on number 12?
Yes, sir.
Is there a consensus of the court to take no action on item 12?
Yeah.
Let the record reflect no action on agenda item number 12. We'll then go to agenda item number 13. Consider and take action to approve moving $12,088.70 from salary line item and corresponding benefits in Fund 54 into the maintenance of records line item.
So Fund 54, as Mary explained, has had a salary line item for a project manager. That project is no longer, it's been completed, so we have no use for that position. And so that money would stay in that same fund. It would just be moved down to the expense line item instead of a salary line item.
So this is a budget amendment, not a line item transfer. That's what we're doing.
Well, it would be a line item
I think
transfer.
it would be more like a line item transfer, yes.
It's just moving it from the salary and benefits down into the expense line. Which
It
we
still
wouldn't do
stays
that in the normal department,
That's what I was thinking.
okay? But this was just a one-time thing for a certain project that required a project manager. And so,
If there are no further questions, then I make the motion that we approve moving $12,088.70 from salary line item and coordinating benefits in Fund 54 into the maintenance of records line item.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 13 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 14, consider and take action to approve the proposal from Data Preservation Solutions to scan and preserve 4 original old deed records books and various historical documents at a cost of $11,836.50. See attachment 14.
Okay, so this is the same proposal that I brought to you before, nothing has changed. So it would be for the preservation of those 4 books, with the addition of some loose deed records that I found. And I've been informed that some of those have Sam Houston's signature on them. So they're very historic, and we need to make sure that we preserve those. So the total price for the project is $11,836.50. And that $12,000 that we just moved would cover that.
Okay. Are you gonna be coming back to us for more record preservation money?
Not this budget year. I think I've.
It's not the right answer.
It's still ongoing. I just have to do a little bit at a time. There's a lot to do. But I have good news. The marriage books will be completed by the end of March, he told me.
And that's paid for.
And that's been paid for, yes, sir.
And the money out of Fund 54 has to be used for the maintenance of records. I mean,
Yes,
you
sir.
can't-
Yes, sir.
So
That's
might as well.
what, that's only can be used for.
If there are no further questions, I move we approve the proposed proposal from Data Preservation Solutions to scan and preserve 4 original old deed books and various historical documents at a cost of $11,836.50.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 14 by Commissioner Dobianski, seconded by Commissioner Mallett. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Let the minutes reflect that's a 4-0 vote. Commissioner Walker has stepped out for a moment.
Thank you, commissioners. Appreciate it.
Okay. Isn't there a Sam Houston historical event taking place relatively soon?
Yes, it's in coordination with Texas Independence Day.
Yeah.
It's going to be in Huntsville, and I can get that to you.
I just,
already sent it.
ma'am,
I think I've already sent you that.
you have. I was
Yeah.
just thinking when she said Sam Houston's signature's on some, I didn't know if it had relevance to the day or not. Agenda item number 15, Grimes County District Clerk Diane LaFleur, consider and take action to restructure, adjust salary and grade scale for the district clerk's office. Good morning.
Commissioner Judge, thank y'all. As of the 21st of February, most of you know that I have, one of my clerks has resigned and is moving away, to our sadness. We hate to lose her. But with her leaving, it's given me an opportunity to do some restructuring in my office. And as you can see, I've given you an attachment to show you my plan of action and the duties that'll be changed. And this restructuring won't affect my current budget at this time.
Did you have another one?
Another,
Is it in the,
you put them in the packets?
No, I got it after the agenda went out. So I emailed it to them and said,
well, I
you
missed
need-
that one then.
You can have my copy, I don't have an extra one.
I tell you, if you don't mind, did you bring one?
I do have one, yes.
Do you have one?
Run you some copies up there.
Would you please? One. Commissioner Mallett, you need one?
Yes, please.
1, 2, 3,
And I'd
4,
like to have.
5, 6.
Good grief, let me go do it in my office right quick.
I can get one copy.
Thank you. Okay, so the stuff that you do not have in front of you, neither do I. So, anyway, I feel very confident in the restructuring process that I'm trying to work on. And I do think it'll be a great positive effect on my office to keep us at a high quality of service. And I will say that we have lots of attorneys that give us kudos all the time. It makes me feel really good. I think we operate as good as.
And in all fairness to the commissioners, Ms. LaFleur and I have had previous conversation in her restructuring and adjustments. And one of the things that I'm focusing on with my HR background is with the economy doing better overall, and we keep hearing about salary increases and the 2% numbers and 5% numbers. We hear there's proposals out for minimum wages to be brought up to levels. One of the, and I won't share with you at this moment whether I'm in favor of Ms. LaFleur's proposal or not, but I think it is important when the monies are available that the adjustments are made, because the competition for our good employees is going to be greater and greater and greater, and the opportunities for them to find, I won't say a better job, but a higher paying job is going to be out there. So as a county, I think we need to be cognizant of the salaries that we're paying our employees, and there might be some employees that we're not necessarily concerned about keeping, but there are other employees that we're dadgum sure
Well, I can tell you,
decided.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm
but
just.
She is leaving for more money.
No.
I will tell you that.
Okay.
And
we had a more money situation in our court a couple of weeks ago. We're out of the DA's office. So people are looking, our employees are looking at where they can provide a living for their families, or a better living for their families. And I throw that out there as we have these type of issues come up, because I think further down the agenda, we're gonna be talking about, I know we're gonna be talking about road and bridge, essentially the same thing. So I'm not, sorry.
perfect, thank you.
I'm not promoting, and I'm not trying to sway your opinion or decision. I'm just suggesting that as we consider these requests from some of our elected officials and or department heads, we need to have a little bit of understanding of what our economy is doing around us. And I know we're restricted by budgets and tight budgets, and we don't have a money tree in our backyards. So.
But it sounded like you were speaking to a review of a grade structure or salary structure.
No, not really. I'm just saying that when we have these elected officials or these department heads coming before us and asking, I've got the money available, I've got it budgeted, I'm not going to increase my budget, but I want to redistribute some of those funds. I'm just saying I think we need to give it a really good look, because the cost of replacing qualified employees many times is significantly more than what we're talking about in salary adjustments to keep those employees. And I'm not saying we don't need to make a review of our salary structure and our pay grades, but that's not an agenda item at this time.
Judge, I don't believe this is for a restructure and additional duties.
Yes, sir.
That's a little bit, at least I took it away, that's a little bit different than what you're describing.
And grade scale, that's why.
Diane, are you gonna be replacing your employee?
Yes.
Okay,
I will.
because I just didn't see anything on here for what the new employee will be doing.
Well, I didn't put it. Well, actually, at the time when I prepared this, I didn't know who I was gonna hire. And I don't know, I just didn't address it.
Yeah.
But
that employee won't be taking on additional duties. These are the
No,
employees that are taking on additional duties.
correct.
So you're still planning on hiring someone to replace that position?
No, I'm hiring someone, I'm hiring another clerk, but that position, it'll be different, it will be a different job description.
So would the money still be there next year for the new position?
Yes, oh, yes, the money's not gonna change, nothing as far as salaries is gonna change in my budget. Because if you look at each position, I explain in each position at the very top of each position, the addition, and that's like $4 and something difference.
Okay, so overall it's $4 and something different if you take.
No, there's no change in my budget, period.
She's just reassigning duties that are being vacated by the leaving employee to some of her other employees now, and will hire in another employee that will have different duties.
Yeah, right. I can't give a new hire, which actually she's got some experience, thank goodness. But I can't give a new hire some of the duties that the existing, well, the leaving clerk was doing, because she won't know how to do them.
So your new hire will hire in at a lesser amount.
Correct.
Okay, so the difference in that salary, you're taking it and redistributing it amongst the employees that you're trying to give adjustments to. Is that what I'm?
That is correct, that are taking on the new job duties.
So that total amount that you're talking about that you have to redistribute is $4 and something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because you just have it broke down by $1.15, $1.15, so I was
Right.
trying to get to the number and where the number was coming from.
From her, the one that's leaving, it was from her salary.
Okay. So when you hire in this year, you're hiring
This
right
week,
now,
right.
this week, then there's some money left and you want to
That is-
redistribute. So then my question, and I think you might have answered it, but just to be clear.
Okay.
So next year, when you're doing your budget, that position is not gonna have the same compensation that the former one had.
Correct.
So it doesn't change your bottom line figure.
That's right.
So, back to what he said earlier, Commissioner Cox, is, okay, we're talking about a restructure, adjusting the salary, and a changing of the grade scale is what you have on here.
Right, and so that would be, if you look on the second page, and that would be right there, move to a grade,
6.
right,
Right where?
right in the center. And then I give the explanation.
So you don't need the grade reviewed because it's already there
That
in
is
the
right.
duties. Okay. Well, I'll make a motion on agenda item number 15 on consider and take action to restructure, adjust salary and grade scale for the district clerk's office.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 15 by County Judge Joe Faust, seconded by Commissioner Philip Cox. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Agenda item number 16, Precinct 2 County Commissioner David Dobianski. Consideration of possible approval of proposed salary adjustment for road and bridge personnel. See attachment number 16. Commissioner?
After we voted the last meeting on the proposed raises for road and bridge, I went to Mr. Harry and talked to him about this. And I think has been some misunderstanding as to whether or not there was going to be money needed additionally in the next year's budget to fund these raises. It's basically the same thing that we just passed. These guys are doing an excellent job. He has the money because of some retirements, and people who have retired has the money and the salary schedule. So I see no reason to go ahead and give these guys a raise. Not only are it may not be that our employees are looking for other jobs, but people are gonna come out and look for them. And that's happened in the past with people that we've had in Road and Bridge. With the economy the way it is, as the judge stated earlier, there are people out there competing for these guys who do a good job. And they hear about them from other people that work with them, and they will seek out and hire these people out from others. So we do need to take care of these guys who are going above and beyond. And I have caught them going above and beyond in their duties. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Terry now to.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have, okay, last time we came before you, the court approved salary increases for the pre-form. We have requested salary increases on a merit basis for several of the members. And that was not approved at that time. At this point in time, we're asking for those increases to be approved. I will tell you that the situation has changed a little bit since last time we considered this. One of our operators has since left. He did leave to go take a higher paid job elsewhere. And we promoted one of the gentlemen that I had recommended for a merit increase last time into that operator position. So it's changed the numbers. I sent out a spreadsheet to everyone that has the new numbers. Basically, there's $2.59 currently available in our budgeted salary. None of this would increase any of our salary budget for this year. It does not incur a change next year. We're not eliminating a position or anything, doing any of that. It's just because we've had retirements of people that have been here for a while, and they've been replaced with people coming in at the bottom of the salary range. We have some extra money in the salary line item that's available. And again, these are not major raises. The largest amount I've proposed is 65 cents an hour. It's intended to reward the people that are doing a good job, are going above and beyond, and showing the right kind of attitude, the right kind of initiative that we want to promote, and show them that we recognize what they're doing, and that we want to give them that pat on the back and a little bit of extra money to say thank you for what they're doing. Questions?
So on your new budget, you're saying, when you say balance remaining at the bottom, you're not using the entire amount like you were before because you had one employee that moved up in rank, and so that left more money.
The balance remaining is, as of today, before any action is taken, because of the retirements we've had and people moving on and replacing them with people lower pay scale. They're currently, our payroll right now is $2.60 an hour short of what was budgeted for this year.
Okay.
And if y'all approve these recommendations, we'll use $2.59 of that. I can't make it work out even because the payroll's done to 4 decimal places, and you don't set people's pay scales like that. But yeah, if this is approved, we will have 1 penny left, less than what y'all authorized at the beginning of the budget year in our payroll.
And it increased the number of people you're trying to give a bump.
Yes, what I did when Bruce Kavaca was promoted to an operator, he was on the original list. Basically, I took the money that we would have given him and gave smaller raises to 2 other individuals, just to reward them. Again, the raises recommended range from 27 cents an hour up to 65 cents an hour.
Okay.
So as I commented in the last meeting, whenever we were having this discussion, I don't dispute Commissioner's evaluation of the job that road and bridge employees do. I believe they do an excellent job. That is not the issue in my mind with regard to what's going on here. We have a policy specifically set out that pertains to merit raises and how those raises should be handled. And at this time, it's not conducive to following that policy. I understand there's a desire to make it more competitive, but if we're going to do that, we need to adjust the whole scale, not just on a handful of employees. If I count right, there's about 33 others on here that apparently aren't considered for that. And another 150 roughly employees in the county that we're circumventing the policy that's been in place for quite some time. There's been no evaluation, or I've not seen one, on those employees, and that's supposed to be submitted to the judge. And he's supposed to recommend those raises, merit raises, in his proposed budget. And it specifically says no proposed merit raise will be effective unless approved by the Commissioner's Court during the annual budget process. In my mind, I don't have a problem with giving out merit raises, but I believe right now, per our policy and how we've always done things, is not the time to do it. And it's not a reflection on the performance of your employees. It's just there's other elements that have to be considered at this time as well. So I wouldn't be in favor of giving out these raises at this time to these employees that are identified, not because they're not doing a good job. I don't know what kind of job they are doing, because I can't see the evaluation as prescribed by the policy.
If I may make a comment, these employees have been evaluated. They were evaluated at the beginning of the budget year. I have not gone through and given them new evaluations now. Quite frankly, I don't want to get them excited, get their hopes up that they might get a raise by going and doing an evaluation out of cycle. I can certainly do that. I have no problem doing that. But I will also say, yes, this does violate the policy we have. There's no question about it. But we have violated that policy many times. I have done it myself since I've been here. We did the exact same thing. So if we're going to enforce the policy strictly, we haven't been doing a good job of that.
What policy, when can you point to a time that we gave out merit raises in the middle of the budget?
The first year I was here, we did the exact same thing for a total of $2.54.
Merit raises?
Merit raises. The same exact thing. If people retire, we replace them at lower raises. And Ben Lamont was the judge at the time, and that was approved.
Was this policy in place at that time?
As far as I know.
I don't think we had the salary structure at that time. And that's when this.
Yes, we did. We've had the salary structure a
After we
while.
passed the salary structure, we had $2.54 in the budget, and we reassigned it at that time.
You know, I mean, I can't speak to that. All I can say is that we have a policy, and just because it was done one time doesn't mean it's right to do it again.
Unfortunately, we haven't been consistent in our policy.
Exactly.
We've done this more than one time. I think we've almost seen one almost each agenda, where people leave, the department head or the elected official takes the salary of that person and redistribute it without it changing their bottom line. And we always ask the question, are we going to replace that position? Is it going to change your bottom line for the preceding year? And we get the same answer, which is no. I don't think we just saw an adjustment to salaries. We just saw a restructuring of a department. I don't know what makes his any different than what I've been seeing. And I'm just being honest from what I've seen in the past. we've done this, maybe we need to go back and look at the policy and adhere to the policy. But as far as I know, we have been doing just exactly what he's talking about doing. When somebody leaves and there's an adjustment in monies, I don't think this is any different than what we've been doing for anybody else.
I do. What we've been doing is based on the prescription for the policy for the salary and grade structure. As we just did, that distribution was based on job duties and responsibilities. We adjusted to account for the additional job duties that were being distributed by the elected official. A merit-based pay raise is how you evaluate or compensate for the actual performance of those duties. They're two different things.
In my sitting down, talking with Mr. Walker, we have an employee, one of the employees that I know of on here, that holds a CDL license, who holds a position that doesn't require a CDL license, but yet he takes on additional responsibilities and duties to do jobs when there is no one available to do that job using his CDL license. So to me, that's a difference in responsibilities that he's doing that he doesn't have to do. So to me, it isn't any different. And I've known other positions that it was based on just this person needing an adjustment almost because. So I think that the policy needs a review probably by all of us once more and again to review some of the policies that we have on hand to make sure that they're covering what we're seeing. Because we've seen this more and time again. And with that being said, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and consider the approval of proposed salary adjustments for the road and bridge personnel.
Second motion.
So, are you calling for discussion, Judge?
Well, in just a moment. There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 16 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Commissioner Cox.
Yes, just to clarify, Commissioner Walker, are you advocating that we don't follow the policy that's outlined for merit raises?
Are we advocating that? I'm advocating that we haven't been.
Okay, but what about today?
No, I'm not saying we just did it a while ago.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
No, we
made an adjustment based on responsibilities.
Right. This
Okay.
is not an adjustment based on responsibilities.
From where I see it, it is, sir.
Okay.
Harry, does Road and Bridge have grade 4 positions other than your clerical?
No, sir, not at this time.
Is that something that we should look at? I mean,
We might look at.
And I'm not trying to bootleg the system, I'm just asking, are there situations where you have light equipment operators that are grade 3, and then I see where you have drivers and things of that sort that are grade 5, then we go 6 and on up. Is there a need for a grade 4 in your area of responsibility?
It would give us more flexibility. Again, the issue is going to be if you set up the budget with the positions we have and you want to promote someone to a higher grade, that changes your budget line. It would have to be done on an annual basis at the time the budget was set. And, again, part of my thinking is that, I'll agree with the commissioners. The policy needs to be reviewed because it has not been applied consistently.
Yeah.
There's some issues we need to take into. certainly glad to reevaluate our grade structure overall as going into next year's budget. One of the things we've talked about in the past is when we hire new employees, we bring them in at the bottom of their grade.
Right, yeah.
And we have talked about, a probationary period, 90 days or something, and then giving them, a salary adjustment at that time. The current policy doesn't allow that. So there's things like that that we should look at in our policies, quite frankly.
And I'm a proponent of not having a probationary period. And the reason for that is when you hire somebody, you've hired them. And if you say, okay, you've made it on probation, sometimes employees feel like that gives them a suit of armor, they're here forever. And the fact is, we can terminate an employee for just cause, whether it's 85 days, 95 days, or 5 years. And I'm not trying to bootleg the system here, but because we've added, road and bridge, we've added drainage crew, a second drainage crew, and I know we've had folks dedicated, but if folks were dedicated to one position in one of those areas, but because of excessive rain or weather conditions, you then have the ability to use them in another area because they're at a higher grade because they've got some cross-training or what have you. I don't know if that's an opportunity for us to look at potentially having some grade 4s in your area of responsibility.
That's certainly something to look at, and again, we, as with the rest of the county, there's a little line item in the contract that says, and all other duties as assigned.
Right, yeah. That's by design.
If there's something somebody is capable of doing that's above and beyond their position, but we need them to do that, from time to time, we do that. Currently, they don't get any extra compensation for that. If the CDL driver situation was mentioned earlier, we have light equipment operators are not required to have a CDL. That on occasion, they will drive a truck because somebody's out and we need that truck more than we need them, patching potholes. But they don't get any extra compensation for that as currently stands.
And I do believe we need to take care of and hold on to our quality employees, but I also believe we need to follow our policies that we have in place as well.
I'm just a little bit shocked by this conversation and the fact that the court acknowledges that the policy apparently hasn't been followed in the past and that there's a problem with that, but we're willing to at least make a motion to do that again today. I don't get it.
I'm not understanding why we're making a difference beyond amongst departments. We hear that time and time again, how certain departments can come in here and ask for additional funding, additional money, and they get it, and there's no questions really back and forth, conversation back. And you've got a department that's doing the work, that's making adjustments based upon duties, and we don't want to do that for them. I don't understand that.
It's not based on duties. It's based on merit.
It's based on duties, because the guy doesn't have to do the duty that he does.
It specifically says based on merit. He's told you it's based on merit. He's also told you, he acknowledged that the policy is in it.
They are merit raises. We're not changing these gentlemen's duties, and I'm trying to interrupt my own argument, but the facts of the fact.
Well, and I appreciate a department head or an elected official. I've got money. I want to keep it, because if I don't keep it, you know what's going to happen to it.
Well,
So-
and it's not even that. It's, I guess, part of my problem is I don't really understand the reasoning for the policy as it's currently written. And what's wrong with giving merit raises during the course of the year if somebody's doing a good job. I mean, I come from a different background. We give spot bonuses, in the middle of the year to somebody if they did a particularly good job on a project that was critical. We could make salary adjustments during the course of the year. My background's a little different. But again, I don't quite understand the logic behind the policy.
And I don't say I disagree with you on that, but we have a policy in place that's active today that dictates how merit raises are to be handled, and it's also reflective of the salary and grade scale. It even makes reference to that. And according to this policy, I mean, if you really want to get down to it, the judge is really the only one that should be making a recommendation for merit raises, because the policy dictates those evaluations go to him, and he's to include it or not in his proposed annual budget. He didn't do it this year. And right now, there's no prescription in policy that allows, if we're going to follow the policy, for that to be done.
So once again, that's what I'm saying. It's time for us to reevaluate the policies that we have, because you spoke earlier to evaluations, and we know, you and I have both talked about how there's a problem with evaluations when evaluations are done and everybody in that department is perfect.
And
You know, and then it's based on that. So the problem is the policy. We have some issues with the policies.
Well, then let's have a discussion on the policy at a later meeting, or we could have it now. I mean, it is up, and make those distinctions or clarifications before we go and do something that's outside of policy. If we need to change the policy, it is well within our right as a court to do that. But we don't take action, or at least I don't believe it's the right thing to do, to take action in contradiction to an existing policy knowingly, and then say we need to look at the policy and change it. Let's
Well,
change
I
the
think that we've
policy.
already been doing that. We've been in a practice of doing that, and that's why, you know, I made the motion, and I didn't see any difference in so many of the requests that have come before us earlier in the year. I don't see the difference.
Well, I don't want to play semantics, but our district clerk, we approved hers today because those were a restructuring of a department and restructuring of jobs. So I'm comfortable at approving those. Now, previously, we denied her request because it was more of a, it came across
That
more
was
as a merit.
That
And-
was a license coming from the sheriff department over.
Well, it was not just that. I mean, there were other adjustments that we turned her down on. So, I mean, I understand your point of view. I understand Harry's taking care of his employees. And Commissioner Cox, I certainly understand what you're saying, that we have a policy and we should follow that policy. Anyway, we have a motion before the court on agenda item number 16 by Commissioner Barbara Walker and seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there still further discussion?
I've recommended the court. I mean, I don't know what else I can say, but we need to take issue with the policy first and change that if that's the way we want to go and have mid-year merit evaluations or considerations. I mean, we can do it, but our policy does not prescribe that we can do that at this point. And I think that is the first step that we need to do before we move forward with granting merit raises, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the performance of those employees, because I think they're doing a good job.
But we're going to take a vote because we have a motion and it's seconded. And Commissioner Cox, I think what you could very easily do based on your feeling, submit language for the next agenda, and we could certainly have that discussion regarding policy. Therefore, hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Walker, you're an aye. Commissioner Dobianski, you're an aye. Commissioner Mallett?
No.
No. Opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
Nay.
So the vote is 2-3. The motion fails.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 17, Commissioner Precinct 3 Barbara Walker, consider and take action to approve a resolution to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs for affordable multifamily rental housing.
This was something that was presented to your office from the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. From my understanding, after researching it, once you gave it to me, it was received in your office February 3rd, and it had to go back to that department by the 28th of this month. This is improvements to a housing development there in Navasota to bring.
Is it the Navasota Landing Apartment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The Navasota Landing Apartments located in my precinct. It is to make funds. They are going out for a grant, and the grant total is $340 that they have, $340,000 they have requested, and this is for 40 units to bring them up to par, and the owner is Gary Maddock. And so, if you, with your permission, I could read the resolution.
Please do, please.
The resolution states, whereas Gary Maddock has proposed a development for affordable rental housing at 520 Laredo Street, named Navasota Landing Apartment in the city of Navasota, Grimes County. And whereas Gary Maddock has advised that he intends to submit an application to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs for 2020 competitive 9% housing tax credit for Navasota Landing Apartments. Now therefore be it resolved that Grimes County, Texas, acting through its governing body, hereby confirms that it has no objections to the proposed Navasota Landing Apartments located at 520 Laredo Street, Navasota, Texas, project number 20270, and that this formal action has been taken to put on record the opinion expressed by the County of Grimes on February 26, 2020, and be it further resolved that for and on behalf of the governing body of Grimes County, the county judge is hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to certify these resolutions to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, duly appointed by vote of the Commissioners Court of Grimes County, Texas on the 26th day of February 2020. They received credits for this resolution. And I did get it over to the county attorney who helped me draft this. So I ask that you give considerations to the resolution provided.
And Commissioner, I didn't have a chance to talk to you specifically, but the draft that you sent to me indicated, I think, that your preference was that the language indicate that the county has no objection to.
Yes.
Versus supports.
Mhm.
I know you saw that language in that, it says sample resolution. Resolutions that expressly set forth that the municipality or the county supports the application are worth maximum points, while resolutions setting forth that the county has no objection are worth fewer points. I just want to confirm that's
okay.
That's the language we have in there is no objections, not support.
And this is just to make their application stronger to the Texas Department of Housing. With that being said, is there any other discussion?
Was there a motion?
I was going to make one.
Okay.
I was going to make the motion that we approve the resolution to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs for affordable multifamily rental housing.
Second.
Is there a second? Oh, you did?
I did.
Just one correction on your reading, Commissioner. As you said duly appointed by vote of commissioners, it's actually duly adopted by vote.
Okay,
Just
sorry.
for clarification, that's all right. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none on agenda item number 17, motion by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Cox. No further discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. And this has a place for the county clerk's signature. Okay. Agenda item number 18, Commissioner Cox, review, discuss, and clarify policy on county job posting requirements. See attachment number 18. Commissioner Cox.
I'm not the policy guru, I'm sorry it may sound like that today, but
Yes, you are. You can
This
leave
is-
these for me.
this is in response to a conversation that we had at the last meeting when we were talking about how to handle the HR position. There was a question of whether or not the job actually had to be posted, and on October 17th, 18, the court did take action to change in the employment commencement policy from must be posted to may be posted, and I wanted to bring that to the court's attention as well as the other people or elected officials that may have interest in posting or not posting a job.
Okay, make sure I understand. You said that we currently have that in our, because when we looked earlier, we didn't.
It was not, Ms. Pope, it has been changed in our policy to may be posted, right?
No, we have must be done.
Okay.
What's reading right here on this says, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I have, but I'm not real sure if the policy that can be pulled up online says maybe or must be.
And that revision was
Do you have
10/17/18.
10/17/18.
Is it in your red book?
You know what page it's on?
7.
7. This manual that I have says must be posted. So we need to make sure that that is properly reflected in the policy manual, please.
So what we have is the current policy that you gave us.
Yes.
So the maybe is the correct language.
Maybe is correct. yes.
Sheree, were you checking the website?
I'm trying. Slow.
She's Facebook.
Yeah.
Take a selfie of you and the attorney and post it. Happy times in Commissioner Court. Corey, why were you ducking?
Okay. So this is just
Just
to clarify.
Yes. I know we've got that coming up.
All right, you'll advise us when you find it?
It's right here.
Okay.
The one online says,
Yeah.
but not, it says, job openings that occur through resignation, transfer, promotion, retirement, death, vacancies other than previously budgeted, but not filled, must be posted internally for filing such vacancies. That's
So it
what's
needs to be
posted online.
changed?
Okay, so we made the revision 10/17/18. We just need the online to catch up with the written document?
Okay.
No, I'm not saying okay, I'm asking, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay then. We good on that then? We'll get that changed online? All right. And maybe, Lucy, you need to just send out so people can change out their books if they have old copies in them. All right, thank you, ma'am. We now go to Road and Bridge Engineer Harry Walker, agenda item number 19, consideration and possible approval of special road use and indemnity agreements for Century Concrete, Magnolia Energy for County Road 304 and 344, Jover and Pavlock, and a special road use permit for Ellie Myers, see attachment 19.
Recently, we had, became aware that the contractor is starting to move in on County Road 344, Jover and Pavlock, to do some work for center point transmission. Our weight officer brought that to our attention. The project down there, they're basically going in to raise some of the new transmission lines and relocate lines to clear the 249 construction. Because of the nature of the work and that they were already on site, we scrambled around, we've got the companies involved to submit permit applications, and I prevailed on the judge to go ahead and sign those permit applications at the time. This short-term project should be done in less than 90 days, and they needed to move forward. So what we're asking you to do today is to ratify the special use, road use and indemnity agreements for those 3 firms that the judge previously approved. Any questions? They're all using the same routes with the exception of Century Concrete. Had some additional road segments in Plantersville because they're obtaining water from the Gulf's Plantersville water plant right there off 1774. Some of the exhibits look a little bit desired.
But that's the one you're referring to.
Yeah.
I guess since I'm hanging out there, I'll make them.
If there are no further questions, I'll make the motion
Okay.
to approve the special road use indemnity agreement for Century Concrete and Magnolia Energy for County Road 304, 344, Joe Burke, and Pavlock, and a special road use permit for LE Miners.
Second.
Just notation, it's the same language, special road use and indemnity agreements for all 3.
Right.
It's the same document we've used consistently.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 19 by Commissioner Dobianski, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 20, consider and take action to authorize Road and Bridge to go out for bids for the following items to be used in the 2015 GLO CDBG grant project: culverts, flexible base, contract hauling, asphalt, and emulsions. Finally.
If you recall, the grant project involves bridge construction, which a contractor doing, and their road work that is going to be done in-house. GLO in their infinite wisdom decided that our annual contract bidding process was not adequate because we do not specifically contact historically underutilized businesses to make them aware of the bid opportunities, even though we post it online, we publish it in the paper, and we send out advisories to firms that have previously bid these contracts. So in order to use the materials on this project that are mentioned there, we have to go through a rebid process specifically for this project, and we will be having to contact hub firms to make sure we check off that box on the procedures. I might add also the asphalt and emulsions contract, we would normally be bidding at this time of year because that's a 6-month contract, and we rebid it ahead of the paving season, so that's not really extra work on that one.
I move to authorize Road and Bridge to go out for bids for items for the 2015 GLO CDBG grant project, including culverts, flex base, contract hauling, and asphalt and emulsions.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 20 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Can you remind me the value of that? Can you remind me the value of that grant?
The grant was for $866,000.
Okay.
The bulk of that's going to the bridge.
Right.
The remainder goes to the road.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Agenda item 20, consider and take action to authorize Road and Bridge to sell timber from the right-of-way on CR 201, CR 201, and Loop, and CR 202.
CR 201 Loop and County Road 202.
On CR 201, CR 201 Loop, and CR 202.
201 is the long straight road.
Yeah.
201 Loop is the circle that's.
Well, if I can say GLOCDBG, I can say this also.
I will also, on the agenda item, which says 202, should also say Pine Brook. This is also related to the work for the grant project. Pine Brook subdivision and Shovel Lake subdivision are the areas that are beneficiaries of the 2015 grant. Those happen to be subdivisions that were properly platted back when. They have 60-foot right-of-ways, and over the years, the ditches are out here, and we have trees this big that have grown up between the ditches and the road. It makes it difficult to get into maintenance of the ditch. We went through recently and we brushed out the right-of-way out to the limits. Well, of course, that's the small stuff. We didn't take the trees. In order to go in and do the ditch work that we're committed to do under the grant project, I'd like to clear the timber. There's not a tremendous amount of it, but it is saleable. Because you have approval to sell everything in the county. Actually, we're asking for approval to sell the timber on those roads.
What kind of timber is it?
Pine. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the one that you and I did tour together?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You got the first-hand view of it recently.
Well, I was confused on that other tour.
It's, the roads, everything was put in by the developer back many years ago, and you can still see where the original ditches were.
Right.
But you've had, these trees have grown up over time, between the road and the ditch makes the maintenance difficult.
Are you asking that the money that's the proceeds from the sale be returned to the Road and Bridge Department budget?
Yes, sir.
Mr. County Attorney,
Yes, ma'am.
I've never seen a sale timber, so.
Let's see, the county has the easement right to use for purposes of travel, pedestrian and vehicular travel, and has the obligation to maintain it. If there are obstructions, including trees, the county has the right to remove those. The question I think here is the sale. Harry says to me, negligible may be too strong a word, but we're talking about a minimum amount of pine that may be, or proceeds that may come from the sale of the trees. I don't see anything wrong with it. The one question that could be raised is the landowners typically adjacent to a road own to the center of the road. And what's that?
This is a platted right-of-way.
Right, but it's the landowner still own the fee to the center of the road. And so the county only has an easement right. The county doesn't own it in fee. The county doesn't have the minerals to it. And so the landowners adjacent own to the center. And so the question is, what does the county have the right to do or obligation to do with its easement? And again, I think in this case, given that these are obstructions that are being removed for maintenance purposes, we could certainly just take them down and dispose of them. So in my mind, I think it's reasonable that we could get the proceeds from the sale of them.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
That being said, I move that we authorize Road and Bridge to sell the timber from the right-of-way of County Road 201, County Road 201 Loop, and County Road 202 Pine Brook.
Would you add to your motion that the proceeds be returned to the Road and Bridge
Yes.
Department budget?
And the proceeds be returned to the Road and Bridge budget.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item 21 with the addition of Pine Brook and with the addition of proceeds to be returned to Road and Bridge. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Road and Bridge report, sir.
We're trying to do everything we can, given the weather. It's been difficult because of the weather conditions, even to do much in the way of grading. We have been putting out cold mix where we can. That works well in the wet weather. They had quite a few trees to pick up the combination of some of the storms we had in the wet weather. We did do quite a bit of work down in Plantation Lakes because of some of the road damages that occurred there from construction ongoing in that subdivision. And we'll continue, as I said, we continue to do maintenance where we can with what we can. We also have a training going on currently through the UT Arlington, provides free training to us. We're doing training on vehicle maintenance today and tomorrow, just pickup trucks, dump trucks, maintainers, grade all. Particularly with the number of new employees we've hired recently, we felt like that'd be beneficial, just the routine maintenance that our operators and crew members are expected to perform on their own vehicles.
And I do have a list of new classes that are being offered from UT that I'm supposed to give to you.
They have an extensive list of free training opportunities, and we're trying to take advantage of that whenever we can. It's a good program.
Do you have a list of those classes that you require all your employees to attend?
We don't require them. We make the training opportunities available, and then we'll select employees for specific training depending on their job duties. Now, once they're selected, yes, we require them to attend it. There's not, for their positions, there are not specific trainings that they're required to get. But we can provide, what we've done in the past, various levels. They have 3 different levels of maintainer operations, basic, intermediate, and advanced. Same thing for grade all. We recently did a class on tie down for loads for transporting equipment. Now we're doing the vehicle maintenance. So, things that are beneficial to their day in, day out operations, particularly when we have new employees that we want to make sure they know what they're expected to do.
So do you have any plans in the future to require that they attend any of these classes?
Haven't really thought about it in those terms, but again, when we have a training opportunity set up, we'll designate people to go, and they're required to go. We don't have a list set at the beginning of the year. It tells them, okay, you need to take such and such training this year.
Any other questions for Mr. Walker? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 22, County Judge Joe Felt, discuss and take action to approve the resolution requesting a public resale of property acquired by the Grimes County Central Appraisal District at a delinquent tax sale and authorize the county judge as signatory. Attachment number 22.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the delinquent tax attorney for Grimes County. It's our standard deal with 10 lots in Navasota. There's 1 mobile home we already have an interested buyer in. The amounts were set by the appraisal district based on what we think it will actually sell for. And these are all ones that have been previously offered for the total amount of taxes and court costs and did not sell. And so these are all selling for lower amounts.
And you are?
Keith Treadway, sorry.
With
McCruger, Pazelka, Bragg, and Allen.
Okay, so on the sale, these have come back to Grimes County?
Yes, ma'am.
Because they've been on the sale before?
Yes, ma'am.
So now, does it clear the property of any heirs?
Clears the property of any errors and any liens that were included in our suit.
Any heirs
and so
and
as long
any
as we did our
liens.
job correctly, yes.
Okay. So this bid may not be for the taxes that were owed, but by an appraised amount that was set by our appraisal.
Yes, and that amount is going to be lower than the amount of taxes by definition because we've already offered it at that amount and it did not sell. And so we have to go lower at this point to get somebody.
On the manufactured home, you said you had someone that was
We have.
interested.
Yes.
So is it going to be on auction or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That's, in fact, actually, the amount is specifically what he is willing to bid. We've had that thing for a while, and we desperately want that thing
Several
away.
Don't say it like that.
I really don't like mobile homes in the county's name, just saying, so.
What date is this? What date is the
It's
sale?
next Tuesday.
It's next Tuesday.
Election day.
On the courthouse
Yeah,
steps?
but the polling place is here in this room, so it won't
Oh,
affect,
okay,
it'll
because I
be
was
okay.
gonna wonder.
Now, it's the unfortunate deal.
Put a note, vote here, buy over there.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate deal. They only give us 12, they give us the first Tuesday of every month, so we have 12 days to sell properties across 254 counties in the state of Texas. So it's just, and unfortunately, they schedule other things on the first Tuesday as well, so.
What time?
It's 10 a.m.
Now, Constable Jarvis, will he hold this sale or will you folks hold it?
Yes, sir. It'll be Constable Jarvis. We're there with him, but Constable Jarvis is the one it's technically his sale.
And the time?
10 a.m.
10 a.m., okay.
Do the,
Treadway? Treadway.
Mr. Treadway, do the people have to pay immediately or?
They have to pay usually by 2 o'clock that afternoon or 1 o'clock. And so it's cash, cashier's check, money order. No personal checks.
Keith, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we have taken a personal check from a couple of people. Just,
Okay, well,
you know.
it's supposed to be cash, money order. Or cashier's
I just
check.
wanted to
That's
be
the-
clear.
Okay.
Cash, money order, or cashier's check?
Yes, it's, basically, we need to know that the money is good.
Good, right.
That's the only way your trick technically can.
Well, if there's no further questions, then I make the motion that we approve the resolution requesting do we need to read the resolution? or-
I would hope not.
Okay. Resolution.
need to.
Okay. Requesting a public resale of property acquired by the Grimes Central Appraisal District at a delinquent tax sale and authorize the county judge's signature.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 22 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to sign this now.
Thank you, everyone. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for being patient.
Today's the 26th.
Here, because normally I have this report at 9 a.m. on Wednesdays, so I was just happy I could be here.
You got out of that.
And Miss, you're going to need to sign that also. Okay. Get back here on schedule. Agenda item number 23, discuss and take action to the reappointment of Sheriff Don Sal as a Board of Trustee member of Mental Health Retardation Authority of Brazos Valley with the term beginning March 1, 2020 and ending February 28, 2022, or attachment number 23. Sheriff Sal currently serves in that capacity. Letter was sent to me from MHMR asking us to go through this process. I believe you do. If you all have the same copy of the letter that I received, Sheriff Sal is willing to continue in this capacity. I know that he's up for election, and if for some reason he did not get reelected, then we would take action to find a replacement after that period in time, but he is the incumbent at this time.
I think he can still serve.
Of course, part of it would be his choice.
Yeah.
but- Since the letter was sent to me, I'll make the motion on agenda item 23 to reappoint Sheriff Don Sal as a Board of Trustee member to the Mental Health Retardation Authority of Brazos Valley with a term beginning March 1, 2020 and ending February 28, 2022.
Second.
Keep writing you BB instead of DB, I don't know why. There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 23 by County Judge Joe Fowl, seconded by Commissioner David Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 24. Consider and take action to review updated Grimes County regulations to be posted on the county website under Road and Bridge and authorize the county judge's signatory. See attachment number 24. Thank you for assisting here, Mr. Walker.
This is just an update of the current regulations that the county enforces regarding road and bridge items. Judge Lamont had posted this on the county website back when he was here, and it has not been updated since then. We felt like it would be appropriate to update it. Primarily, the main change we've had is the new regulation regarding the road use permits, and that's a significant one. So this is a quick scan for people. There's just a listing of the regulations that they need to follow, but that's a particularly important one that we want to make sure they're aware of.
When it references fire code, could the burn ban be included in a fire code?
I'm sure it could be.
But I mean, we do regulate the burn ban, and I think
These aren't all road and bridge policies. That's where on the website it's posted.
Fire code, I believe, is usually for buildings and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's referred to.
Well, if there's no other considerations at this time, I make the motion to update the Grimes County regulations to be posted on the county website under Road and Bridge and authorize the county judge's signature.
Second. There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 24 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Mallett. Is there further discussion?
Judge, could I say?
Yes, you may.
I should have spoken up if I was over here.
That's all right, this is discussion time.
Building code and fire code, one's for commercial and one's for residential. Those specifically apply to whether the county regulates those types of structures. We've talked about in the past whether the county ever wants to do that, and you have the opportunity to do that, but then there'd have to be enforcement. You potentially have to have a marshal and somebody to then oversee that. But to answer the commissioner's question, as the other commissioner noted, fire code is something different than the burn ban.
Okay. Are there any further comments or discussion? Hearing none on agenda item number 24, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Who seconded that?
Commissioner Mallett seconded.
Who made the motion?
Commissioner Walker first, Commissioner Mallett second, and we are now voting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 25, discuss and take action to approve adding a Highway 90 entrance/exit access to the new Justice and Business Center. See attachment number 25. The diagram that we have in 25 is, oh, I thought you were leaving. The diagram that you have as attachment 25 is something that you've seen before. Just let me refresh the court. We have from one of our citizens, Jim Westmoreland. He is a property owner that his property abuts the property of the Business and Justice Center. I have talked with Mr. Westmoreland on a couple of times, and Mr. Foltz has talked with him a couple of times, and he has said that, hey, we'll swap value for value on property. and he has access from the Grimes County property over to Highway 90. I have talked to Lance Simmons, who is our, I guess our district director, is that what they call him, Harry?
The area engineer.
He's the grand poobah for TxDOT of our area. Okay. So, but anyway, I asked him to review, can we have this, can we have, Lance, I'm sorry if you're watching. But I asked him to review, he put an exit out onto Highway 90, and that's the red boxed area. With the 149 east there, is there enough site clearance without making that a hazardous entry exit on Highway 90? And I have their approval in an email that I provided the court in the past. I think Commissioner Cox, you brought up the question, and I submitted that. The issue, or my reason for putting this on the agenda now is because we have construction going on now. Our contractor has equipment and personnel over there now. I adamantly believe, I firmly believe that only having entrance exits on 149 West is going to be a detriment to that facility, the safety of our citizens, an absolute inconvenience to school traffic, both elementary, high school, and intermediate that go along that area. I think in good conscience, we as a court need to put an entrance exit to our facility on Highway 90. And the reason I'm putting it on the agenda now, even though it's going to be expensive, it's going to be more cost effective to do it now with our contractor there than bringing them back in 6 months or a year after the project's over or what have we. Just the fact of inflation, it's an issue. I'm glad to, have we not distributed this before, Al?
No. That was an email,
I-
to Michael, then it routed to the project manager.
I have one more copy for
Myself.
somebody if they, but no, I have 2 more copies for someone. But bottom line is for them to put that additional drive in from Highway 90 to our parking lot of the new facility, in round numbers is like 300,000. They said around 295, and that includes soil engineering, and it includes 5,000 for Lime series testing and density testing, etc. So it's somewhere around that number. Again, I think it just makes good common sense for us to make this a part of the project now versus coming back at some point later and saying, hey, we want to do this.
I'll add on to that. There's some dirt over there that is 17 PI. I talked to.
That doesn't mean much of anything to anybody here.
Highly compactable dirt.
Okay.
Is that
helps?
I talked to Jim Westmoreland about it. It will not be affecting anything of the land swap. If we get into a good vein and it does go into the land swap, Jim has agreed that we first thought to build a pond and that, but who builds a pond on the high side of a hill? So he was okay with us putting non-highly compacted dirt back in the hole that we make. So that might save some cost on us having to haul in select fill.
So I know we've been asking for a lot of money already this morning, and even someone mentioned borrowing, but we have a $12 million pool, and to date, we have not even hit $11 million. And I'm not saying just because we have it, we got to spend it, but I think this is a smart decision. I would like the court to make this decision because I think it shows forward thinking on the part of this court.
Are there any legal considerations, Kenny? With the land.
No, actually, this is one circumstance where they're absolutely zero.
You gotta get him to say it sometime.
Well, so the discussion has been, originally we talked about doing a swap. Equal acreage for equal acreage, or actually based on value. And so we looked at his appraisal district value and our appraisal district value and calculated what the amount of acreage should be in that swap. So not equal acreage. Then there was the concern, or at least the consideration, that Mr. Westmoreland expects to reap some benefit of having property now along a county road. But, that being that the public will be using the road, and potentially he could have retail or other places of business along that road. So if that were his desire, then is he getting a benefit such that there shouldn't be a swap at all, such that it should be just a donation of the land in exchange for having the higher use of his property by use of the public? And then we have the additional issue, and I've raised this with you, I think I've raised it with the judge, and this is for you all to decide, not me. But if you acquire right of way that is 80 feet wide or 100 feet wide, you're not going to build a causeway that's that wide. So you're going to have a causeway, you're going to have a concrete road that's in the middle of that. And so the question then becomes, are you going to permit adjoining landowners to have access to your concrete road? And if you are, you're going to be responsible for the maintenance of that road, no matter how much traffic they put on that road. If you allow that to happen in this specific instance, you also now have the question of the other two entrances to the law enforcement center now. Those driveways would be in the same situation. You have a right-of-way that's larger than the causeway, but you have adjacent landowners who may say, hey, I'd like to build a strip center right here and have the folks come in the county driveway and turn and come on to my place. If that happens, you need to address or decide now how you're going to respond to those requests. Those are the things that I've seen. As far as making the transaction happen, it's simple enough. It really comes down to, is it a straight swap? Is it just a donation of dirt? And then Mr. Westmoreland has the permission or has the consent of the court to allow him to build driveways that will attach to our concrete structure. I will tell you the last conversation that I had with, and I'm certainly not accusing Mr. Westmoreland of doing anything inappropriate, but the last conversation that I had with him, he said if there's not a commitment of the court to pay for that construction of that road in the foreseeable future, he does not want to donate that dirt. So he wants a commitment by the court that that's going to be funded in short order before he's going to be willing to either donate or swap.
Say the last sentence again. He wants a commitment for what?
That it's going to be funded in short order in the near future before he's willing to either donate or swap his property. Whichever the transaction is going to be, a straight donation or a swap.
So would that, I mean, that would kind of lead me to believe that he is at least anticipating that the county will allow access.
Oh, he's not making any bones about it. Yeah, he's not making any bones about it. I suspect that will also be a condition of the conveyance, that he will have access to the county's road.
So, in terms of the other road that's being put in, you're seeing that as a potential that could happen. How do you then deal with those landowners?
Well, that's, and the reason that I raise that issue, as you guys hear me say all the time, this is some lofty constitutional argument, but equal protection requires us as officials with the government to treat people equally. And so if you have the circumstance where Mr. Westmoreland's getting that treatment on the side of 90, now it raises the issue of should the folks on 149 get the same treatment? I mean, that's something you're going to have to address. I don't know what would come of that, but that is an issue that I see.
So is it your understanding that he won't do the deal unless we commit to allowing access to that road from his property?
That's why he wants to donate it.
Well, how many other county roads do we restrict people from having access that want to put in businesses?
I don't know that we put restrictions on folks tying a driveway to a county road in a blanket kind of way, but these are not necessarily, these are like driveways to the county property, not necessarily a county road. But you could certainly see it that way. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do the deal, can't do the deal. I'm just telling you, you got to go in eyes wide open because you may have folks in line after this request.
Can we make it a county road?
Sure, you can call it
And then,
Harry Walker Lane if you want.
And then but let me ask you, in all seriousness, we could make that a county road because maybe it's a little bit longer, but the one on 149 West, just like the sheriff's drive is already, or the drive to the sheriff's office is already a drive, the other road that we're putting in, wouldn't that be a drive, or would we have to designate that as a county road?
I think it's semantic. I like the idea, and it's an argument that you can make, and hopefully we don't have to make it in front of some arbiter. But
Sure.
If it's 1,000 feet, it's a county road. If it's 750, it's a driveway. I mean, that's essentially what you're asking. I don't know. I mean, there's not some. I don't think there's a legal principle behind that threshold. But I understand where you're headed with it, and it's a justification that you can make. I just foresee that if I'm a landowner in the same circumstance, that I'm going to be saying, hey, wait a second. He put up a strip center, and he's got all this activity now that's coming right off the county road onto the strip center. This is all access he didn't have before that goes the depth of his property as opposed to the frontage of his property. Why wouldn't I ask for the same treatment?
And I guess part of the argument there, though, is that we already owned that property, and we needed this property to convenience us.
Well, I understand. You may have sufficient justification to say you need to acquire that piece of property now and build that road, and if it comes with conditions or strings, then we'll have to live with it. You're just going to have to, I think, you just need to be prepared going into it that you will have other folks wanting to know why they may be treated differently.
And that's fair.
Also, if he puts in a strip mall or something there, then that's gonna increase our revenues.
How much of a savings is it to do it now?
I can't tell you. I think Al Peeler or Commissioner Mallett might have a better, Commissioner Rodzar Walker would have an opinion. The question is, how much more would it cost us later to put the road in versus not doing it now? If it's gonna cost us let's just use a round number of $300,000 today.
Basically, the additional costs are gonna be the contractor's mobilization costs. They're on site now. It's convenient, you've got everybody you need. You've got, the designers, you got the geotech, you've got the contractor, all that. Folks that are currently working for the county, they're there, ready and available. You get them in their contracts and they move forward. You can do this separate standalone project and have to go hire folks to do all those things.
Dirt. We got dirt.
Yeah, it makes dirt handling issue on the current project. There are definitely advantages to it. That's part of the current project.
Can you put a proposed number? It's 10% more, it's 20% more, it's 25% more? I'm
Probably not
thinking.
more than 10%.
Sorry?
Probably not more than 10%, I wouldn't think. But, 10% of $300,000 is
30 grand.
saving.
Can I ask Mr. Walker a question while we're, would you, if this is your input, would you want to see some site plan from Mr. Westmoreland so that you would know what type of burden there was going to be on your road from his retail or whatever he intends to construct before you said, let's do it? I don't know what kind of curb cuts or what type of access. I assume it'd be culvert permits, but would you want to see that?
Not at this time. Normally, any kind of driveway access to a county road would be permitted at the time they get ready to do something. it's counterproductive to try and anticipate what a developer is gonna do sometime in the future, because he'll change his mind on you.
Right.
And the-
Cuts in, specific to a development plan, if we were building a new county road, unless he were ready to, move forward immediately.
I guess the reason that I'm thinking it's different is this is gonna be a condition of receiving the property, that we know he's going to want that access. Would we wanna know how many entrances, how much traffic, would we wanna know any of those things or no?
There would certainly be merit to knowing what his plans are and working with it. I would not put in driveway access points in any case, but median openings on the road itself, if it were to be a boulevard type road, we could do that. But if it's undivided, which is what the discussion has been, again, I wouldn't put anything in the road construction.
In my initial discussions with Mr. Westmoreland, when we were talking about it, he said, I might want to put a business in here. I go, oh, that makes sense. He says, or I might just want to hold the property and sell it to some other investor somewhere down the road. So I don't know that Mr. Westmoreland is ready to front the money and build the property, but he is in a position that he doesn't want to go through with the project unless we, fairly close to the future, to the present, are going to put that road through.
Well, and the reason that I ask is when we draft the documents, whether it's a deed or whether we do it some other way, I assume it's gonna be for fee, as opposed to an easement. But this agreement needs to be solidified, and we need to say what it is that the court is permitting him to install. I think, is it, he gets to have concrete, let's say a driveway that is 100 feet wide, 200 feet wide, 300 feet wide, adjacent to or connecting to our road. Does he get 3 drives that are 20 foot wide? Does he get 5 drives? Those kind of things, I think, he's going to want to know that. Because if it's a different court and all 5 of you are gone and Harry's gone, when the person who has that right now assigned to him because they bought from Mr. Westmoreland, they're going to come to somebody and say, now what is it that I have here? And we can't leave them scratching their heads. We can't leave the county folks scratching their heads. Going, we don't know what those folks intended. So it's going to have to be fairly specific. And that's why I want to know what he's thinking it's going to be.
And I think that would be a total mistake. If you designate it as a county road, he has the same rights and privileges as any other property owner adjacent to a county road to have driveways and access for our standards.
And you would want that general language? Okay, is that true
I
for?
would say make it a county road.
Is that true for CAPS right now? Would CAPS be able to put in a strip center and be able to get access to the driveway?
If you make it a county road, if it's a driveway, no.
What's the difference?
It's not designated for the use of the public as a county road.
The public uses it.
Our rules pertain to county roads. Private driveways, we don't have any rules.
Well, I understand, but the difference is it's a road that goes from, right now it's a road that goes from 149 to the law enforcement
It's a
center.
driveway.
Right, and so the other one is going from 90 to the law enforcement center.
The county is a private entity. That driveway is for the use of their invitees. It is not a public road. They do not have the same privileges just because they're adjacent to it.
Well, I understand, I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying, how is it that how is it that claim's not made about the other drive?
People can claim anything.
Well, I understand, but I mean, how is that not made?
Driveway in a public road.
I understand, but I guess what I'm saying is if it's built, if the new one is built, the one that we're considering right now, if it's built, it looks to me the same thing. It's a drive from 90 to the county facility. And you're just saying that if this court calls it, puts a term on it that it's a county road, that it's different?
It needs to be formally designated as a county road if you want the adjacent property owners to have access to it.
So I assume that that would be a condition of the deed then, that the county agrees to dedicate that, or the county agrees to make that a public road.
I mean, it'll need to be platted like any other county road or a similar legal designation.
And he's already suggested a name for the county road, but I'm not willing to share that at this time.
Well,
At some point, if he wants to have total control of what happens, he needs to designate it, plat it, and dedicate it to the public as a county road, and he control what he does with it entirely up to that point. If the county's gonna do it, we do it like any other county road, or you keep it as driveway and nobody has access.
Now, it will have to go through TxDOT though, because it is connecting to a state road.
So we'll have to approve that connection, and the rules and regulations are different for a public road than for a driveway.
Yeah.
So it does matter.
So we're going back to the original issue. If we allow or don't allow access to the driveway, caps, you mentioned caps, we would probably be better suited to deny him the opportunity to access that driveway.
If what, I'm sorry?
If Caps wanted to access the driveway that abuts his property, if we're denying access to Mr. Westmoreland, from a legal perspective, based on what you're saying, we deny Caps the opportunity to access that driveway on his property, correct?
What you're facing is, when does the rubber meet the road? And that's when somebody says, I've been denied equal protection. And when that suit is filed, and there is a, potentially a federal case, let's say, the judge or the jury's gonna have to decide whether there's a difference between a public road and a driveway. So we can all postulate and put our terminology on it. My job for you is to advise you of the risk, and your job is to decide whether to take it or not. My fear is that you're creating a circumstance where somebody could complain. Whether they win or lose, I don't know, but that's just telling you about the possible risk. If you build the new one off of 149, I assume that's going to be declared to be a driveway, and Caps would have access both sides, so he would be denied both sides. Where the road that exists now plus the new one that's going in.
Well, you'd have two ownerships. You got Caps on the west side.
You'd have three owners, because you got the woman that owns the lot that's at the corner of Hill Street and 149. That person touches on the west side of the current driveway. Then you have Caps on the east side of the current driveway, and then you have Caps touching what'll be the new road, and then you have the other owner on the east side of what stands to be the new road off 149. So at least three people on that side.
All due respect, you're not fun at all.
But also, like you said,
Camps?
TxDOT actually has different requirements for a road.
Right.
So that would, and define that would think, which one we designate there.
The difference between a road and a driveway is not in the construction, it's in the legal designation that that's a public road. If it's a driveway, the property owner has total control of what happens there. They can allow access or not at their whim.
That's private property.
All comers have the same rights to use that. It's a legal designation, not the physical, and construction can be identical, and many times is.
Well, I really had a simple request. I just want 300,000 to build a road. Mary?
I have a question. If it's a driveway, we could probably build it the width that's proposed. But if we make it a county road, would it need to be wider?
It's already 80.
Well, I'm just wondering, you know.
If it's a county road, there are certain standards that they have to meet, but what has been proposed is in excess of that in any case.
Okay.
And the landowner did mention the possibility of I guess donating that easement versus the swap.
He didn't indicate that to me.
No.
The judge and I think, talked about that after we considered the benefits that were being, that he would be receiving.
If you want to make it a county road versus a driveway, that would, we could negotiate that potentially.
Yeah, he didn't convey that all to me that he was gonna donate anything.
No,
It's
well, it's like I said, if we want to designate a county
Right.
road, we think that would be something we can negotiate.
Well, I think one of the major issues that's come up is, are we gonna allow adjacent landowners to our driveway access? And how many access points, what is that picture gonna look like? And if you do it for one, I mean, you take a risk by not doing it for all, and I'm not, in my mind, not willing to really accept that risk. If you're gonna do it for one, you might as well do it for all to avoid that issue of any legal challenge to it.
This hasn't been discussed with the building committee.
I would say he's not gonna give you a plan, because when I was talking to him, it didn't sound like he even knew what he was gonna do. So, I don't know what his plans are, and I don't know that he'll give you a plan, because I don't know if he has a plan.
Well, I like Harry's suggestion. I mean, it's a matter of whether you want to call it a public road or whether you want to call it a drive. I think that's the representation that you're then making to Mr. Westmoreland. We're going to call it a road, and it's going to be subject to whatever roads are already subject to. But, I mean, I continue to say you've got an equal protection issue that you won't be bringing it. Let me just say it that way. You'll be responding to it. And the court will figure out who's right or wrong in that deal.
So you think going the route of being a county road would be the better way to go?
Certainly the better.
But
We're
you
talking
said
about better, yes.
The requests or the approval we've gotten from TxDOT was based upon a driveway.
The approval from TxDOT is not a formal approval. It was, hey, we're thinking about doing this. Can y'all take a quick look at it and tell us if there would be an issue because of the proximity of the 149 intersection? Whatever is done will have to be formally submitted and reviewed and approved by TxDOT. But the criteria are different for roads than driveways.
Better if you're going to do it, I'm sorry, but if you choose to do it, it's the better of the options that are on the table. But you have the no-build option, let's call it.
Yeah, my recommendation, if we think that we're going to want to allow the adjacent property owners access to this, we need to designate it as a public road, because you open a whole can of worms if you start allowing adjacent property owners access to a driveway.
Because you do have the school there too, but I know they have their own drives.
And they, if it's a public road, they have the right to access it also. I don't think they've been really involved in this conversation and expressed any interest in that, but they might. Again, I think if you go down the path of allowing the adjacent property access to driveways, you're creating some issues, liability issues and things that you don't really want to incur. If the intention is to allow the adjacent property owners access, go ahead and acknowledge that and make it a public road from the beginning.
Well, would we make these two entrances at that time public roads as well?
It's y'all's decision.
I'd say no.
Strictly, a decision as the property owner of how you want to handle it.
So we would make this road a county road, benefit him economically, but we wouldn't do it for the other one.
You could.
That's why you can negotiate as well, just having him dedicate that instead of actually doing a land swap, because there will be benefits from that.
But isn't it a public road, Harry, if it's used for public use?
It doesn't, from a legal standpoint, it's not the same.
Okay.
If it's a driveway, you can go out there and close it anytime you want.
Okay, yeah.
The driveway is used for the public that you invite to come into your property. And you can block people and deny people access anytime you want.
Right. Which we can't.
Yeah. I mean, it's strictly a decision. If you want to go down that road, if you would go down that path and you want to make the other access points into that complex into public roads, you can certainly do that. If you want to maintain them as driveways, you can do that also. It's, the jail, the sheriff's department, that's been a driveway for many years. The second access under 149, now that's a much wider parcel of land. The adjacent property owner isn't gonna have frontage on it. You would have to grant them a driveway across a wider strip of land to get access. So it's a little bit different situation, but it's strictly a policy choice, which way you wanna go.
Do y'all need to meet again? I mean,
Well,
it sounds like
I think
some
we can
things have been
still-
ironed
I
out.
think we can still move forward with doing this and then figure out what we need to do as far as land swap or land, granting the land to us as an easement or whatever.
I think you're right.
I think the access will be a benefit to the citizens, because in the mornings, 149, when I went to pay taxes one morning, I got, yelled at for cutting in line to go get in, drop off a kid or something, so. And I was just going to the tax office, so. Yeah, it's congested right there, so I think that would be a benefit.
But as far as funding, I heard him say we hadn't even touched the 11 million yet, but we anticipate, do we?
Here, I guess, if we approve this, then we know we've got the money to do it. We've got the approval of the court to now go negotiate in good faith with Citizen Westmoreland. And if push came to shove, and he goes, no, I've changed my mind, I don't want any part of this, that option goes away, and the $300,000 goes back into the general fund, and we spend it on pencils and chairs and salaries and everything
A
else.
maintenance building and storage.
Maintenance, building, and storage.
Yeah, because that's not in there, so that's something we'll have to look at.
But the thing is, until we as a court approve the expenditure of those funds for that road, we're kind of stuck with getting these other issues resolved. I think if we get the agreement to do this, and then we can work with Jim Westmoreland to meet his need, but more importantly, meet our need, then we're in a position. And the other thing is, if we can get this done now, I think the 10% more is a light number, but I'll go with your expertise. We could then save $30,000 in the building of this road.
You also have PGAL that will have to get started on that, because he has to draw it up for Collier.
Well, it won't be PGL, we'd have to actually have a contract with the civil engineer.
Isn't that
Oh,
Gessner,
yeah.
isn't
So
that
that-
Gessner or whoever, or somebody like that?
Jones and Carter.
Jones, yeah, Jones and Carter.
So what does
Or
that
if
add
that's
to the
something- Or if
cost?
that's something we might have to bid out, but I think the dollar.
I think it's in the, yeah, and that, yeah.
How much does that add to, since we're already at 300?
I believe
So-
those numbers were in there.
No, the numbers in the email, Commissioner, that 300 included that, I think it was 8,000.
8,000 for the soil engineering and 5,000 for the Lime Series testing.
Right,
So it shouldn't cost additional.
right.
So it doesn't cost additional for the design?
That's inclusive in the 295.
No, I think it didn't call the civil though, that was just for,
What, 8,000, 5,000?
Geotech.
that's just
Yeah,
geotech,
no, it's not design,
the actual design.
depending on what, see, that's what I'm talking
I
about.
designed it for
PGAL.
$5.
Probably range in the, 6% of the project cost?
Well,
Of the project
8%.
cost?
the email
Probably a little
says,
higher, but
Six
it's
to
gonna
eight.
have to be designed. to
Good
meet
Lord.
this.
Yes, it would have to be designed.
Not necessarily saving that cost.
the email
So we don't have
says-
the,
Yeah,
In that budget, we've included the same contingency, surveying, and design fees as the engineer
yes,
assumed.
Oh, okay, I didn't see, okay.
yes,
He broke out the other stuff.
yes, he
They've
wrote
also
out our
included
test.
8,000 for soil and 5,000 for lime.
And that would be through Jones and Carter.
so it's in
That's
the
kind of a
295.
turnkey, isn't it?
Sir?
The 300 is kind of a turnkey.
Yes, if you look by that email that he provided us, he's using Jones and Carter to design it, and then he added our testing costs.
Yes, no, they like it.
Yes,
Okay, so that's all inclusive price.
right.
Because we asked them to please add contingency costs for both hard and soft costs. Okay, I'm gonna step out. I'm gonna make a motion on agenda item number 25 that we approve adding the Highway 90 entrance exit access for the new Justice Center and Business Center, knowing that the cost is going to be around $300,000.
Second.
We have a motion from County Judge Joe Fouth. We have a second from Commissioner Chad Mallett. Discussion?
Yes. Is the cost the 226 or the 295? Because
$295 includes it.
$295, because the 226 was Jones and Carter. And then we asked Collier to give us a turnkey. So that was the addition of Collier coming in and doing it.
Okay. And that was,
Can I ask a question? The auditor's asked me, the auditor's office has asked me to raise.
Sure.
If this is Collier, is this an amendment to the contract? Or is this a change order?
Change.
Is this, well, does it exceed the threshold for the amount of a change order?
yes.
Doesn't exceed the threshold in any case,
What's the threshold?
25%.
Okay. So is this a change order? Is that what this is?
It would,
You could do it either way.
right.
I'm not smart enough to answer
It
your
could,
question.
it could be bid out again, or it could be.
And that's the reason I'm raising it, is does it have to go back out for bid? That's the question that the auditor's office is
I
raising.
wouldn't think it would have to. I would think it would be considered under the change order rule.
It's well within the limits to be a change order and just awarded to the current contractor. Same thing, if it is an amendment to the contract, it can still be done without it going out to bid.
The other question I have is, do you intend by your motion that I'm gonna go negotiate with Jim, or that someone else is gonna go negotiate with Jim? And are we saying that the agreement is fee simple? It's not a right-of-way, it's not an easement, I should say. It's fee simple. And are we asking for a swap? Or are we asking for a donation? Or what am I to tell or ask Mr. Westmoreland?
I mean,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
those are some of the things I was gonna ask myself. I mean, are we designated a road or a driveway? I mean, there's some other things I think we need to take into consideration before we move forward with this. So we're all on the same game page, and we can convey what our desires are, and I'm sure somebody can talk to Mr. Westmoreland and convey those as well.
Well, I don't want to gang up on him, but I'd be willing to talk with him since I've had initial discussions, and I'd like John, you to be a part of that conversation, and maybe Harry, you be a part of that conversation. And either Commissioner Cox or Commissioner Mallett as part of the building committee, a part of that conversation, and Mr. Peeler as the project manager, a part of that conversation. But by having those folks involved, I think we would be able to work through most of the questions and come up with reasonable answers in 1 or 2 meetings versus, well, let me go find out and reschedule it. Well, let me go find out. So, and it might be we throw some options out to Mr. Westmoreland and he needs some time to think about it, but, you know, we've now met part of your requirements, and that is, we as a court have committed the dollars to get this done. Now we're trying to figure out, with your input, Mr. Westmoreland, what is going to be the best way. We're interested in the best way for us to get it done. You've brought it to our attention, you want to have some investment or an opportunity for investment in this. What are some of your needs, and see what we can work through.
And then would it then come back to the court, or would it go to the building committee? I mean, because we won't know what you all have
Well,
negotiated.
I think once it's resolved, if it is resolved, then there'd be an obligation on someone, whether it's Al
I
or
would
whether
still
it's
have
the
to
building
bring it to
committee, somebody come back and do an update, and he's gonna, because Al's gonna be on the schedule for many agendas for the next year or so, or forever, kind of like Harry is on the road and bridge report. Al's got projects that are ongoing and we need to be updated as a court.
I would still have to bring it, whatever way it went, I would still have to bring it, Commissioner, to the court to get approval for the change order. That's how we have been running things.
How about,
The contract with Mr. Westmoreland would have to come forward for approval.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna
Oh,
say.
absolutely.
I mean,
Well, I mean, what is the direction of the court in this matter?
I think we should designate it as a county road and request a donation of that easement, because it would improve property values for that.
Let me clarify it. Harry has said before, if it was a donation of an easement, only a right-of-way and the owner keeps the fee, we already have a policy that says if you're just gonna donate a road, you've gotta do some work on your own. And that's why I raised the issue, is this different because he's conveying fee, that we're not requiring the person to do the development on his own? You follow me? Because we have a policy that says, if you wanna donate a road, then you gotta do a certain amount of work before we'll take it in. In this case, are we deviating from that policy, or are we saying convey us the fee, which makes this different, and that's why we're willing to do the construction?
If Mr. Westmoreland were to approach us as a developer, we would expect him to let the property designated as a public road and build it to our standards, then we would take it in for maintenance. Now,
And that doesn't sound
in this
like-
case, the county wants to do this, and my understanding is he's willing to work with us on it as long as he has access. So he's not initiating it.
Okay. That
But
makes
yes,
sense.
if this were just, if he were initiating it, we would expect him to pay for the construction of that road, design.
Okay.
So does it matter to anybody whether it's fee or whether it's easement?
Would you explain one more time, fee and easement?
If it's,
No, it could be
the
fee.
fee is to the sky and to the center of the earth. An easement is a right to use a piece of dirt. It's not even what's called a possessory interest, it's a
So-
right to use.
So fee, we want to have ownership of it.
That's
And-
why I'm
and-
asking.
And fee would give us ownership.
Fee, we own the minerals, unless he reserved the minerals, but we could allow him to do that. The county doesn't really care about owning the minerals. He doesn't continue to have, as we were talking about earlier, about whether people have rights in a road, that when a right-of-way is abandoned, either by formal action or by being made impossible to use, when it goes away, typically the owners of adjacent property take to the center of the road. That would be an issue here as well if we just got an easement. If we take fee, we own it forever. It's like you bought a tract that's, 1 acre square.
I
Same
think-
kind of deal.
I think that's in my opinion, that would be our desired approach.
Okay? That's what I need to know.
Yes.
Or that's what we need to know.
That was
This
just
gang
my
of eight-
comment.
This gang of 8 that's not gonna gang up on.
That's just my comment, but.
Yeah, I think that's the appropriate way to go.
Okay, so there's a motion before the court on agenda item number 25 by County Judge Joe Fount, seconded by Commissioner Walker. I'll ask again, is there further discussion?
Commissioner Mallett seconded it.
Did
What'd I say? You said Walker. You
I
seconded
did?
yeah.
Commissioner Mallett, I got CM right there, Chad Mallett. So he seconded, is there further discussion?
Do we need to state how the fee route?
I was only kidding. No, go ahead, do what now? What's your question?
It was originally gonna be a swap, a
Uh-huh.
land swap is what,
Land swap is what we're saying.
value to be determined.
I thought it was a donation.
Okay, that's why I said we need to be clear.
Well, I mean, that was the approach, is to say, after having thought about it, the court is asking that this be a donation because there are benefits to Mr. Westmoreland that may exceed what the value of the dirt was that was to be swapped. But if you want to, if you want to fall back
That's what I was
position, you can
trying to say.
decide. But I think you're authorizing the group to have this conversation and then come back to the court.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. That was my question. Should it be part of this?
Yeah, I misstated. I guess what I meant was a deed dedication or easement.
Under
Dedicated right away.
at some point in the future, there'll be some sort of negotiation document or discussion had that clarifies all of this.
Absolutely, because this is just step one, authorizing that if we can reach an agreement with Mr. Westmoreland, we got the money to build the road. Because if we can't get that, all bets are off, because he's not willing to swap out of the goodness of his heart, I don't think. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Agenda item number 26, discuss and take action to determine to hire a human resources director. Court, we have 3 internal candidates that have submitted their interest in being considered for this position. We have not posted this publicly. The 3 candidates is Christina Griffin out of the Elections Administrator's Office, Talita Coleman out of the Auditor's Office, and Cinda Phelps out of the Treasurer's Office. So we have 3 internal candidates for the HR Director's position. My question to you folks is, do we want to have a group interview? Do you want me to conduct the interview? Typically, the HR Director liaison is the county judge for the court. But I'm open if everybody wants to participate in the interview, or if you want me to handle it.
I would like for us all to participate. When we've done other departments that report to us, we do it as a court.
I understand. I'm asking for opinion. So would that be, is that a consensus? Okay. Is there a consensus that between those 3 candidates, we conduct the interviews, and if we as a court find none of them are viable candidates, and at that time we would post it? We still have time. Okay. That's what we will do. Did you catch that, minute takers? Okay. Consider and take, and by the way, I'll get Cherie to help coordinate those, but we need to get that scheduled for sooner than later. All right? Number 27.
Judge, it says you were going to take action on 26, so I think you need to vote.
Okay, on number 26, discuss and take action, determine process. So the process is we're going to interview the 3 internal candidates, make a decision, and if none of them are viable candidates, then we'll go to the outside world and ask for candidates.
Is that a motion?
That's the motion.
Second.
There's a motion before the court by County Judge Joe Faust, seconded by Commissioner Philip Cox. Is there further discussion on 26? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 27, consider and take action regarding the burn ban and authorize the county judge as signatory. I'd suggest no action. Is there a consensus? Agenda item 28, receive any updates on the strategic plan?
I have an update, unless you'd like to see it, Commissioner Ballard. I'd like to say that we did receive word from CHI St. Joseph that the coverage area around King
Oaks and
Keith and Iola and Keith area will now have coverage coming from the Med in College Station as far as ambulance services, which will help free up and cut down on the response time for the other 4 ambulances we have in Grimes County, so that we won't have to move or rearrange any ambulances at this time. They are willing to, since they've purchased the Med, run an ambulance into Grimes County from the Med. And I think that's fantastic news.
It is.
So,
I'll get it out. Is dispatch informed of this, or how is that gonna work?
Dispatch informed us. They've already worked it all out. They have already provided the maps for the dispatchers. The change has been noted with dispatch, and
Is that something we need to put on the agenda to adjust the maps? Or is that something that,
I think that's their coverage areas.
I didn't know, as long as everything is synced in with 911?
Well, I can check with Catherine and
Addressing
see
and- yeah,
if she
make
needs.
sure
Her mapping comes from the VV-cog, which
Oh.
approves the maps.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we need to
I want
have
to
it.
take the opportunity to personally thank Commissioner Mallett and Commissioner Walker for working through this with them, because this will give us our fourth true fourth true ambulance access, right?
Actually, 5,
Well, we have the transport,
which was
so
4.
which is.
Which
the
sometimes
fourth.
will go out as well.
Right, but I mean, this will give us our fourth fully stocked ambulance with EMS and so forth, correct? Excellent.
Yeah,
Well done.
I'd echo that as well, Judge. I know y'all worked hard on trying to get that done, and that is something that, regardless of the location of the county in which people live, they are very concerned about that, and congratulations on getting that.
And this is actually gonna benefit every citizen, because that'll be taken from the north side, whereas previously you may have been pulling out of Anderson or elsewhere and depleting this area or even south. So all citizens will benefit.
And
Well
I-
done, thank you.
Thank you. I would still go back to say, we have 5 ambulances serving the
No,
county.
and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good. Agenda item number 29, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn. Second.
Well, I'd like to discuss that. Okay.
Nobody leave?
All right, further discussion?
Can I
All
give
in favor,
Ms.
say
Jones
aye.
check?
Aye.
I don't want to forget.